After the assailant entered the home asking, "Where's Nancy? Where's Nancy?" Those are the very same words used by the mob when they stormed the United States Capitol on January the 6th, when they broke windows, kicked in the doors, brutally attacked law enforcement, roamed the corridors hunting for officials, and erected gallows to hang the former Vice President Mike Pence. It was an enraged mob that had been whipped up into a frenzy by a president repeating over and over again the big lie that the election of 2020 had been stolen.
Every word is a lie. It's hallucinatory listening to it. None of that is true.
Want to get it off your chest? You're in the right place. They accuse this show of being run by boobs. Well, let me tell you something about us boobs. We're real and we're spectacular. Want politics and fun, sprinkled with a lot of laughs? Heard in every state in the Union and 770 cities around the world. We just finished our 13th year of broadcast excellence. Now in our 14th year, the Dave Weinbaum Show is streaming live all over the world. Mean, lying, and demented may be okay for some, but for the President of the United States of America, it's not acceptable. Everything Biden has touched has turned to crap. No wonder Democrat politicians are avoiding him like the plague. Amongst his lies about abortion and Roe v. Wade, Biden echoes the message of fellow Democrats about saving democracy. In light of him trying to eliminate us Nazi ultra MAGAs, probably now in about the range of 100 million plus and growing, and all the election deniers amongst us, never mind Hillary calling Trump illegitimate president, or Stacey Abrams still clinging to the Georgia governorship that she lost in 2018, claiming that election was a false one. Saving democracy was first and foremost amongst killing off all opposition, like democracy in USSR. They call themselves a democracy. China, democracy. North Korea, oh, we're a democracy. Cuba, they demand one-party rule, and our DOJ, the last 8 years, have gone right along with it. That's what the Democrats want. They want this all to themselves. They don't want any opposition. So to do that, Biden and Dems have blamed anyone but themselves for the incredible policy failures. This in the vast contrast to Trump's beleaguered 4 years, where treason was abundant upon him and his followers. And this went on for 7 years. Before and after the election, no one believes any of this anymore as to deniers of the elections. Pennsylvania Supreme Court just ruled the 2020 election was rigged. What's left for Joe and the Democrats? The 1/6 farce. They're putting all their marbles into 1/6, which only one person died. Ashley Babbitt, during that so-called insurrection, which was nothing about it, and Trump did not cause that riot, whatever you want to call it. And now, out of nowhere, David DePepe and Paulie Pelosi, supposedly DePepe is a mentally ill Trump supporter. Well, he's come off as a Trump supporter. He's come off as a left-wing nut. But he is an illegal alien. And they're putting the entire ultra-MAGA, semi-Nazi, whatever they're calling us, they're putting us to blame for the Pepe. That's total desperation. You know, they talk about there being a civil war. And I agree. I think it's happening right now. Only the Civil War seems to be amongst those in the Democrat Communist Party and those who are Democrats who may at least have half a brain. Listen, I'm pleading with you. Make an old man happy. My birthday is on November the 8th, Election Day. And your vote to save America is the one and only gift I want. Let's beat him, and let's beat him bad.
Nothing is over until we decide it is. Was it over when the Germans bombed Pearl Harbor? Hell no!
German? Forget it, he's rolling.
And it ain't over now. Because when the going gets tough, the tough get going. Who's with me? Let's go! Come on! Ah! Where's the spirit? Where's the guts? Huh? This could be the greatest night of our lives. But you're gonna let it be the worst. Oh, we're afraid to go with you, Pluto. We might get in trouble. Well, just kiss my ass from now on! Not me! I'm not gonna take this! Warmer, he's a dead man! Marmalade, dead! Niedermeyer, dead! Pluto's right. Psychotic, but absolutely right. We gotta take these bastards. Now, we could fight them with conventional weapons. That could take years and cost millions of lives. No, in this case, I think we have to go all out. I think this situation absolutely requires a really futile and stupid gesture be done on somebody's part. We're just the guys to do it. Let's do it. Let's go!
Go! Come on! Let's go! Come on, get to those voting places and vote! Hi there, my name is Dave Weinbaum. I'm your radio talk show host today. I'm here with my lovely bride, who's tardy for some reason. What happened?
I sent you a message. Did you not get my message?
Yeah, I'm in the middle of my monologue, and I'm going to be reading messages from you. I love you, honey. But I don't read messages.
It was before
right
it
then.
started. It says, "Hi, honey, I'm running late. Go ahead and start without me."
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, like I would have waited. Give me a break. You got to be on time for this thing. All right.
Traffic
anyways.
was backed up to Sink's Pharmacy.
Of course it was.
At the
yes.
light at the forum.
Yes.
Sink's Pharmacy. That was too lighter.
Okay. Anyways, let me announce what we got here. I got a young man staring at me right now, and that's our opening act. That's J.J. Bradshaw. By the way, this is the election special. I mean, I got a great lineup today, starting with J.J. Then Rabbi Moshe calling all the way from Ephrat, where he is going to discuss the fact that he is a prophet, that he actually came up with the scoop about the election in Israel. We're going to talk all about that. We got Chris Adamo, the expert on Marxism and what it's doing to us and the woke world. All right, he's going to talk. We got plenty on that. Bill Warwick, state representative, who is running again, has no opposition. He's going to tell us all what all these statewide issues are here in Missouri, and what we should and should not be supporting. And last but certainly not least, how do you have this guy on election day? Dick Morris, or election weekend. Dick Morris, the vaunted brain behind Bill and Hillary Clinton and now Donald Trump. I mean, you can't find a better person to have on your show right now than Dick Morris. Okay? All right, we're going to go right now. We're going to hear from the. Oh wait, I forgot to introduce. How do I forget this? See, it's a problem when she's late. I have to introduce my wife, Lisa Ann Weinbaum, or she likes to call herself the Law, which is awfully scary, and J.P. Maxwell, the producer of the show.
Yep. Good morning, everybody.
And Rick Henderson, who did all the clips and the bits and did a great job on them.
Hi, Rick.
All right, let's hit a song.
Buddy, you're a boy, make a big noise, playing in the street, gonna be a big man someday. You got
Mud on your face, you big disgrace.
kicking your can
All over the place, singing, we will rock you. Ladies and gentlemen, this man usually wears a tinfoil hat because he's got so much knowledge, so much learning, that he has to somehow keep it under this tinfoil hat because he is 254 years old. That's a lot of stuff to keep in just one head, so he's got to conserve it. And this man is he's an expert on the Constitution, especially First and Second Amendments, and he will be giving us just a little sliver of what's in under that tinfoil hat when it's there. Please welcome, all the way from Rolla, Missouri, John Jeffrey Bradshaw.
Thank you, Dave.
JJ, what's on your mind, or in your mind?
Well, you mentioned in your monologue about the Pelosi attack.
Yeah.
Right after that attack, excuse me, wish I had a cough switch in here.
Here, you want some water? Here, take some
ran
water.
a quick little
Oh, it doesn't
clip
work like that.
in which one of their commentators suggested that perhaps David DePape, the perpetrator, was a right-wing radical.
Yeah.
And shortly after that, Fox, who is known to get the scoop so often, showed a video clip of the school bus that this clown was living in up in Berkeley with a bunch of other nudists. And prominently displayed in front of this dilapidated nudist camp school bus was a Black Lives Matter flag and a gay pride flag.
Yeah.
Now, for CNN to suggest that this guy is a right-wing, it just expands the bounds of ridiculous. I noticed that in the next news hour of CNN, they deleted that clip. They deleted the clip of the fellow suggesting that this might be a right-wing lunatic. There's no question he's a lunatic. That part I think all of us can agree with. But this guy's about as far left as they go. So again, there's another small example of how our mainstream media gets it wrong.
Well, let me add a point to this DePape. First of all, we don't know a lot of what happened there because the attorneys, the prosecuting attorney, whoever it is, they're not telling us everything that happened there yet, although they should have already. But the Pepe, if he was a typical Democrat, like he's a legal alien, he's mentally ill, and he committed a crime, he wouldn't be in jail right now. He'd be in his bus, in his comfy bus, maybe with an ankle bracelet. Now he's in jail. Why?
Well, because it's made national headline news.
Yeah.
This
How about
is
all the
no
other guys
longer-
that are out there who are committing felonies, including some assault, some murders, and they are let out. And look what's happening all over this country.
Well, yeah, but this is San Francisco.
Yeah,
I recognize that this is a defund the police city.
exactly.
Isn't it funny, though, that the police response was 8 minutes to get to Paul
not bad.
Pelosi's house? It would have been a lot less than that had somebody actually been watching the cameras that were installed there.
Yeah.
So the reason I threw that in was CNN, of course, has such low credibility.
Yeah.
Such low. I get much better information from my dachshund than I do from CNN. That's just a little brief throw in that don't believe what these clowns tell you because they get it wrong most of the time.
Right.
Have I seen a retraction come out of them? Well, of course not.
And yet I will say this. I have used MSNBC, CNN a lot. In fact, I think my Joe Biden promotion for the show was CNN. All it was a speech, basically, and I didn't include their take on it. I included my take on it in my monologue. But yeah, I use these people because I want to know what they're thinking and why they're thinking it. And I conclude like 99% of the time that it's BS. But every once in a while, you see something. For example, like Don Lemon interviewing Katie
Hobbs, the one from Arizona.
Yeah, Katie Hobbs, the one from Arizona, as to why she wouldn't debate Kerry Lake. And he was fairly persistent. So every once in a while, you come up with a little gem amongst a bunch of, horse, you know what.
Yeah, Dave, on occasion you find a pearl buried in that feces, but are you the guy that wants to dig through that feces to find it?
I feel like I owe it to my audience to look at that stuff. And yeah, I kind of want to know. I'm curious about it. How did these guys justify what they're doing? I mean,
well, there is no justification.
Well, there is a justification for them. For them, this is what we're doing to save our democracy. Because we can't let it go into the hands of people like Donald Trump, for goodness sakes.
These are the people that always talk about democracy, Dave, but we live in a constitutional representative republic.
Right.
We've never lived in a democracy.
Right.
And the upcoming election is what we do to elect representatives to represent us in that republic.
Sure.
So it's very important. Now, you mentioned Kerry Lake.
Yeah.
And Katie Hobbs. I saw Kerry Lake speak the other night in answer to a CNN question, which was a gotcha question.
Yeah, of course. She's so good at this.
I won't go through the answer that she had, but it was class, first class. And it reminded me in that moment how much she reminds me of Kayleigh McInerney.
Who is she now? Tell the audience who she is. Kayleigh McInerney.
Kayleigh McInerney was the White House press secretary for a good long while during the Trump administration, and she was possibly the most poised, well-spoken woman.
She was amazing. She had the answers to everything, and it wasn't BS. She was so much of a step ahead of the press corps who all hated Trump.
And without cue cards either.
Yeah, and without cue cards, yeah.
Well, she came to the podium with a 3-ring binder that had all the facts in it.
Yeah.
And she would literally beat them to death with the facts.
Absolutely.
So it got to where the liberal White House press corps was a little scared to ask her pointed questions because they were going to get a spear for an answer.
Yeah.
Anyway, Carrie Lake, also a well-spoken, poised woman, reminds me so much of Kayleigh McEnany. I thought I'd throw that in. The two women are cut from the same cloth, and either one of them would make a great governor, representative, senator. You pick it. Now to 2,000 Mules. We're all worried about election integrity.
Sure.
And we've all seen 2,000 Mules,
Yep.
Dinesh D'Souza's production, which asked an awful lot of questions. Two people that were in that and two people that did some of the investigating for that are founders of True the Vote.
Yeah.
Catherine Engelbrecht and Greg Phillips, who are currently in jail for contempt of court because they refused to give up some of the sources that they had for that particular movie.
Right.
Now, of course, an appeal's being filed, and at some point they'll be sprung out of there.
Maybe.
But
maybe.
I took a look at the judge that's hearing that thing. Guess who he was appointed?
Barack Obama.
Barack Hussein Obama.
Yeah.
One of
Lucky
Obama's political appointees.
Yeah. Lucky guess.
Now, just because you were appointed by a leftist Marxist liberal doesn't necessarily mean that you're tainted. But in my mind, at least it opens the possibility that you're tainted. My hat's off to these two folks for denying the court their victory. We'll see what happens. I'll be watching that fairly closely. But isn't it funny that some people that helped to publish an expose on election fraud in our country are now sitting in jail, as I would put it, as political prisoners?
Hey, I'd like to go back to our conversation about heating oil, because you said last week it's no problem, and I appreciated that because I hadn't slept that night hardly, and because I was so worried about that. Well, guess what? I'm a little worried again, because now they've come up with a $13 billion fix to this problem, and it discriminates against a certain class of people.
How about
in this country? So now I'm concerned again.
Isn't it funny that they come up with a fix for the problem they created?
Yeah. How about you? Well, I mean, obviously you can't expect them to do the most logical thing, which would be to open up the pipelines.
How about that?
Dummies. My goodness.
Isn't it funny that two redneck guys from Rolla, Missouri can come up with a solution for that problem?
I'm
just
tan-neck,
between
buddy.
us in the course of casual conversation, and our government can't manage to get that done?
Did you just call me a Jew, Billy? Is that what you just did?
I don't know. Do you self-identify as that?
Sure. Why not?
Well, doesn't that make me a Gentile, Billy?
Oh, okay. If you want to be known that, yeah, sure.
Well,
redneck is fine. I don't care.
but-
I don't care about that stuff. Okay, it's not a big deal to me. Just don't call me late for dinner.
It's a non-starter with me.
Yeah.
I don't care if you're Jew or Gentile. Doesn't make any difference.
Exactly, and it shouldn't. What else you got for me, my friend?
We're friends, and
We are.
It really doesn't matter. Now, Milwaukee. Wisconsin's kind of a left-leaning outfit up there, and Milwaukee certainly so. It's definitely a blue city. Their election director just got fired. Kimberly Zapata just got nailed by the mayor for illegally requesting military ballots. Now, why is this a big deal? Well, if you request a military ballot, put a fake name on it, send it on in, it's processed like any other vote. Our
Really?
military holds a special niche as far as voting is
So
concerned.
you're talking about nobody's checking them?
Well, apparently they checked enough because they nailed this broad. But
Okay.
The point there is, her claim is that she was exposing a flaw in the electoral system. Isn't it funny that she did it the week before the election?
Yeah.
Why not expose that last election?
Yeah.
Or why not expose it a month ago? She got, leftist, she got nailed. Good. I'd like to see her in prison. So that's so much for Milwaukee.
Yeah.
Now, as a prediction of what's coming up in the coming election, I had heard that we may get 54 seats in the Senate.
Yeah.
Maybe. Fixing to take the House. Kevin McCarthy, who is right now the minority leader in the House of Representatives, who ostensibly would become Speaker of the House, should we take the House of Representatives by conservative Republicans. Kevin would be the Speaker of the House. And back in September, he came up with a coalition of his buddies for a little thing called the Commitment to America. It sounds a lot like Newt Gingrich's contract with America.
Yeah.
And I haven't read the text of this thing yet. It's surprisingly elusive. I've not been able to find it. Maybe they're calling it something else, or maybe the Dems have buried it. I don't know. But one of the first things that McCarthy said he would do on day number 1 after being sworn in is take the $80 billion that our current clown in the White House has allocated for IRS agents.
Right.
It's 87,000 IRS agents, and pull the funding from that. What he did not say, and what I hope he says, is that we're going to divert that money to building a southern border wall in our country and stop the fentanyl and stop the terrorists and stop the illegal immigrants. My hat's off to Kevin McCarthy. I hope that he follows through.
Well, we'll see. I'm not sure I'm all that sold on Kevin McCarthy.
I'm not a big fan, but he's got to be better than what we got
right
now.
Well, yeah, I mean, there might be a little bit of a race for that. Our own Jason Smith, by the way, is going to be head of. He's running for the head of a very big committee, and I can't remember the name of the committee, but it's the one that monetizes. I mean, they spend they relegate what we're going to spend on what in Congress. Ways and Means Committee. That's it. Yeah. So,
they controlled the purse strings, and hopefully he will
right
do
down
some
the street
good
here.
work. I have high hopes for him.
Yeah.
One final thing, Dave, before
Yes, sir.
I close this thing out,
All right.
and this is something we should be celebrating. Benjamin Netanyahu.
I know.
Looks like he's got it. 64 seats out of 120 in the Knesset. He's going to form another
prophecy, by the way, that was told on, the Dave Weinbaum show by who? The man that's coming up next, Rabbi Moshe Rothchild.
I can hardly wait to hear what Moshe's got to say.
Yeah, this should be the whole show should be really fascinating.
This is something that should be celebrated. It's clear to me. Now, it's been called by the liberals nationalistic government. Well, Israel is surrounded by their enemies. I think a nationalistic government is probably a good thing. And Benjamin Netanyahu has shown that he is very much in defense of Israel. He wants that state to survive, where his enemies want them to cease to exist.
Some of the enemies are within, like us, within our own borders.
Well, sadly.
And in Israel as well. And he was trying to. He was dealing with these guys that were trying to get along with Biden, and Biden wants to sign he's going head over heels for this Iran deal of all things.
Yes.
It's amazing. And so there's, that Netanyahu is not going to stand there and let them do that.
Certainly
remember when he went to give a speech before Congress about the Iran deal with America when Obama was president? You know what Obama did to him? He put him in a back room in the White House and just let him sit there.
That shows what a shallow moron Barack Obama was.
He still is. Still is, and a bigot, absolutely, and an anti-Semite. No doubt about it. Yeah.
There's no question in my mind.
Yeah.
Dave, that's the last I had for you. There was a small celebration that occurred at my house when we saw the results of the election. This is a very good thing.
Wait a minute. What happened? What election?
Benjamin
Netanyahu. Benjamin Netanyahu. Okay. I'm saying,
Absolutely.
wow, did I miss voting day?
No, you did not. It's your birthday. But this is a very
that's
good thing
that's a good first step. Now we need to follow through, America, and we need to get to the polls And I know J.J. Bradshaw here would agree with that.
I've already voted, Dave.
All right. Well, I haven't. I'm going on my birthday. I want to give myself a birthday present and vote.
Do so, Dave. I enjoy
All right, my
our
friend.
Friday conversations.
Yes,
I'll be
sir.
listening to the rest.
Thank you so much for being the opening act on the Dave Weinbaum Show, J.J. Bradshaw. Yeah. I'm in a fighting mood today. Come on, big guy. Come on. I don't want to fight you. Too young. Anyways, what? What are you looking at?
That's just ridiculous.
Why? What's ridiculous?
Okay, I'll let you think about that.
I'm excited. I'm excited. I got a good show here, and I got some momentum going.
Well, don't unleash your fury.
Well,
on us.
now I got a man cinch because we need probably to do something let's do Reagan.
There was a fellow that was on his way to a mountain resort, and a policeman stopped him and said, "Did you know that you're driving without taillights?" And the driver hopped out of the car. He was so badly shaken that the officer took pity on him and said, "Well, now, wait a minute, calm down. It's not that serious an infraction." The fellow said, "It may not mean much to you, but to me it means I've lost my trailer, a wife, and 4 kids." Cub reporter whose first solo assignment was interviewing a fellow who was just going to have a birthday that made him the oldest person in town. And he got to the address. It was an older building out in the outskirts of the city, and elderly gentleman ushered him in. He sat down, and the reporter determined he was the man, and he said he was there for the interview, and he led right to the matter about how old are you, and the man said 96. He said, "To what do you attribute your longevity?" And the fellow said, "I don't smoke, drink, or run around with wild women." And at that moment, there was a crash from upstairs. And the reporter looked up, and he said, "What was that?" And the old boy said, "Oh, that's Dad. He's drunk again."
All right. Well, let's play number. Let's see. One was in the song. Let's play number 2. Let's go along a little bit with Biden here.
But Biden has gotten nastier and weirder in his old age, and tonight's speech in front of Union Station confirmed that for sure. He told us this evening that because of mail-in balloting, one of the many fraud-abetting measures the Democrats have put into place over the last several years, because of that, we're not going to have election results in some places until several days after the voting. But don't worry, that's not a threat to democracy. It's not a failure of the most basic service government provides, which is counting the votes. They can't even do that. But don't worry, and don't complain about it. The real threat to democracy, Biden told us tonight, is people who don't vote for his party. And to prove it, Biden brought up David DePape. Even though David DePape is a mentally ill, illegal alien nudist hippie living in a school bus with a BLM flag, Biden told us that he's just your typical right-wing crazy, just like the January 6th insurrectionists. It has no bearing on the lives they've been living under Joe Biden's presidency, which are getting worse across the board. Not just Republicans, but independents and Democrats too. And that's why Democrats are going to lose if we have a free and fair election next Tuesday, including in the state of New York. And Lee Zeldin is living proof of that. He's a member of Congress, now running for governor of New York as a Republican, and seems to be ahead tonight. He joins us now. Congressman, thank you so much for coming on. So this will be studied, I think, if you do win, as it looks like you will, on Tuesday. This will be studied, for a long time, I think, I hope. But tell us why you think in a state that went 23 points for Biden less than 2 years ago, you seem to be on your way to becoming the governor. Like, how did that happen? How did you do that?
Focus on the issues that matter most to New Yorkers. People are hitting their breaking point and fleeing this state because their wallets, their safety, their freedom, the quality of their kids' education are under attack.
And Lee Zeldin is ahead. And a lot of these people are ahead. Let's go to the board. Let's see what we got on here. By the way, if you want to call the show, 573-578-2700, or
Facebook, Twitter, and also DaveWeinbaum.net.
So Let's see what's on the board. Oh, Pamela Tanner, good morning. Happy November the 4th. I got to say, my father's birthday was November the 3rd. He would have been 102, born in 1920. My wife told me that because she has an MBA and can do the math very selectively. Like, 2022 minus 1,980, right? Or 920.
I think you have that backwards.
Yeah, 1,920, right.
It's a simple subtraction.
22. See, well, I don't have an MBA, you see. So, I have an excuse. Patricia
your father
Oden,
would be proud.
Patricia Oden Maxwell, the official pastor to the Dave Weinbaum Show, and the official mother to the producer of the show, J.P. Maxwell. Coming through great. Go team. Thank you, Pastor Pat. Betsy Beck. Hoping you get your birthday wish and have a great day again. Thank you so much, Betsy. Thank you. Lorraine Pinkkova. Top of the morning to you, beautiful peeps, and to you too, Lorraine. Thank you. Good morning, and this is Kathy Sanford Dillon. Good morning. Happy Friday, everyone. Now, there's a nice thing. Finally, she got that back in there. Good.
Oh.
Great, because she invented it. She ought to be in it. My God. All right, that's it for now. And if let's do what you have to do that. Okay, let's do our first commercials. Hit it.
Honey, what are you doing?
What does it look like I'm doing?
It looks like you're filling up a swimming pool.
Yep, I'm filling up a swimming pool.
In our living room?
How else am I going to watch the game and stay cool?
If your AC is on the fritz, call Hartley's Climate Control. Hartley's is the area's best in HVAC repairs, installs, and maintenance. Knowledgeable, honest, and dependable. Serving Rolla and the surrounding areas for commercial or residential needs. Hartley's Climate Control. Community born, community raised, community serving.
Call Hartley's Climate Control today at 573-368-3163.
Kent's Jewelry does custom engravings for almost anything. Awards, signs, guns, swords, mugs, yetis, and knives. Kent is the premier custom jeweler in mid-Missouri. We have a great staff, the technology, and equipment to create what you dream for, jewelry and engraving. Kent's Jewelry, 907 North Pine, downtown Rolla, 573-364-1030. That's 573-364-1030. Locally owned. Never be too coy to tell your friends and family about Koi Sushi and Hibachi. Celebrate the best Chinese-Japanese restaurant in the Midwest. Call 573-426-5551 to make a reservation or order takeout. Locally owned, 1808 North Bishop, Rolla, Missouri.
We can sum up McDonald's new crispy chicken sandwich in one word. Crispy. But also juicy and tender. Okay, it's crispy, juicy, tender. All one word. But then, also pickle. Oh, and potato bun, which is two words. Okay, we can't sum up our new crispy chicken sandwich in one word, so you'll just have to try it to understand it. Order ahead on the McDonald's app at participating McDonald's. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Merrill's Quarry and Asphalt, 40 years serving cities, counties, and everyday businesses with driveways for people who live and work in our little piece of heaven right smack dab in the middle of America. Call 573-578-9101 for your free estimate of rocking, rolling, paving, driveways, sealing, and striping, too. That's 573-578-9101 for your free estimate.
Your home is your castle. You don't need unwanted hassle. Don't let those creatures move in to stay. Let us protect your investments. That's what we're all about. Plank termite and pest control will save the day. Plank Bank is locally owned and family operated right here in Rolla, a Google preferred business. Our customer service and your satisfaction is our number one goal. So call Plank today at 368-3333. Plank from out of his control will save the day.
At your locally owned Price Chopper, our standards are high because we know yours are. See for yourself what an incredible fresh selection of grocery items we have in store. Talk to our expert meat associates about what you're looking for. They're happy to meet any special requests like custom cuts, or see our expert produce associates on how to pick out the best fruits and vegetables. Quality in the deli means fresh, full flavor, and always delicious. If you're craving fresh baked goodness, we have that too. You can expect the best selection and the best value while interacting with our friendly and knowledgeable employees. You can find what you're looking for fast and easily at the best prices at Price Chopper. Fresh savings every day. A-Car Real Estate, where experience matters. 532 million sold since 2003, the number one sales volume in Phelps County. As a client for decades, I can say they are the best in mid-Missouri. Call 573-368-7355. That's 573-368-7355 for the best real estate experience you'll ever have.
At Town & Country Bank, we've got all the perks of a national bank, like online banking, quick loan approval, and you can deposit your check from your phone. But that's not why our customers love us. They love us because we still offer hometown customer service. Stop by one of our 2 Rolla locations and let our friendly team remind you how special hometown banking can be. We're locally owned and will take the time to understand your needs. Smart, friendly solutions. Town & Country Bank. Member FDIC. Equal housing lender.
Yeah, 1 second, Dave. You were talking to another rabbi? Sounds like you're cheating on me.
No, actually, I'm cheating with you on him because he was the first rabbi. Listen to this. I got rabbis fighting over me. This is kind of weird. This man travels the world aligning Christians, Jews, and Muslims. Future rabbi to the Trump Third Temple Golf Course, Casino, Hotel, Spa. Please welcome all the way from Efrat, Israel, the official rabbi to Missouri and the Dave Weinbaum Show, Rabbi Moshe Rothchild. Wow, okay already, all right. I think they were applauding all the way from Jordan. Anyways, the rabbi actually got another prophecy right. He prophesied that Bibi Netanyahu would win, and it came true. Wow, how'd you do that?
First of all, there were 2 prophecies I made.
Okay,
one of them is that I said for the first time that Netanyahu would win. He would get enough seats to form a government, which has not happened in a few years. This is, I think, our 5th election.
But he's got it, right?
He has it, and we'll talk about that in a second. The other thing I said was that the kingmaker would be this guy, Itamar Ben-Gvir, and his party called Religious Zionists. They received 14 mandates, 14 seats, which is up from, I think, 5 in the last election, and I called that also. And that is the real reason why Netanyahu has a strong government now is because of this party receiving 14 seats. They're called the Religious Zionists. And they, of course, the left, just like the American left, uses the playbook, calling them racists and haters and, all those wonderful names. And they are a party of good people, of patriots and people who are, ready to stand up and be proud.
So the Ben Gvir is not in the same party as Netanyahu, but his party backs him. Is that what you're saying?
Netanyahu, I think in the end got 31 seats, and this guy Ben Gvir, his party got a total of 14 seats.
Yeah.
So you have 45 seats.
So that's
a big chunk.
Out of how many? About 62?
You need 61 really, or 60 or 61. 60 was like, the minimum, but that never works. You need at least 61. But with the two of them together, it's already 45, and then add in two other religious parties, and you're at 65 seats,
wow,
which is a pretty strong government.
Holy cow! He had to wait for it. BB did, but obviously your timing told him, well, okay, if Rabbi Moshe is going to predict this, then I'm going to do this. So this Ben Gvir guy, he is. In fact, I had a question about him. Who is Ben Gvir, and why is he important?
Right.
Is he good or bad for Israel? And you're saying he's good.
I voted for his party.
Yeah.
Look, he says things that to me seem eminently reasonable. Like, for example, you have Arab members of the Knesset, which is fine to have Arabs in the Knesset. But when an Arab member of the Knesset last week stood up and said that the IDF, which eliminated this terrorist group called the Lion's Den, and an Arab member of Knesset said that he supports the Lion's Den, which calls for the destruction of the state of Israel. Ben Gvir says that kind of person should be held unaccountable for treason and not be allowed to serve in the government when they are supporting people who call for the destruction of Israel and the destruction of the government. So that sounds eminently reasonable, not racist, but you have, people that are weak, both here and in America, that don't understand. You cannot have people in a government that don't actually support that.
You don't think we have that in the United States?
Exactly.
We
you
got
can
it.
oppose government policies. That's one thing, but it's a whole nother kettle of fish when they call for the government to be torn down and the country to be to be thrown into the hands of the terrorists.
What do you think is happening right now, Rabbi?
Exactly.
We got an open border. Our president won't do anything about it. We have been invaded over the last 20 or 30 years with 40 million, maybe up to 60, 70 million illegal aliens in this country.
Right. So that's why the left doesn't like Ben Gvir. They say, oh, he's a racist because he doesn't allow for free speech. Not at all. You can have free speech, but you can't have treasonous speech calling for calling the IDF criminals because they're killing terrorists, or calling for the destruction of your own country that you serve in the government. So Ben Gvir said anyone who does that is out. And
is that going to happen?
What's that?
Is it going to happen?
I don't know, but look, he'll be in the government. He'll have a strong voice on the cabinet, and hopefully they're going to pass laws that are, very sensible and reasonable. But the left doesn't like it.
So Bibi is not setting off parades in America, as Biden will probably treat him like Barack and he did before.
Yeah, I don't think Biden has called to congratulate Bibi yet. While other heads of state have.
He's too busy saving our quote-unquote democracy.
Right.
You see?
Right. And celebrating the rise in the Social Security payments.
Yeah, exactly that. Oh, yeah. And you heard about this David DePepe and Paulie Pelosi?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he's busy talking about that as a representative, of MAGA, ultra MAGA semi-Nazis, like me. Right. Yeah.
They can't discuss the issues because they have nothing to say about them. So they have to talk about everything but, and so they got to drum up, Trump again, who hasn't been in office for a couple of years. And now, they somehow got to pull up the ghost of Trump in order to have talking points for the election in the United States next week, and hoping that that'll rally their base, which of course it won't. And I think we're going to see the Republicans take back the House and the Senate, and we're going to have a lame duck president who can't get anything done because he has a House and a Senate.
You even have
that's a good thing. We don't want him to do anything because it's a disaster.
You even have the Washington Post, a liberal rag in the states, calling for Biden and Kamala not to run in 24.
Yeah.
How about that? I mean, the Democrats don't like this guy. Who's proud of what Biden has done? There's nobody.
I'm sure the Republicans are praying every day that Biden runs again.
I don't see how well, of course, unless there's excessive cheating. By the way, the Pennsylvania Supreme Court ruled that the election was rigged. Okay?
Yeah.
And but they didn't have any prescriptions for punishment. What the hell's that? So no justice in this country right now.
Too little, too late.
There's a top Biden envoy going DEFCON 3, as Kanye would say, after Iran deal. Despite he's going after this deal, despite Iran protesters and Israeli objections.
Right.
So they're going for this.
The protesters in Iran are getting more bold.
Yeah.
And, I'm very hopeful that they're going to topple that regime, and we're going to see, the Ayatollahs and this theocratic, jihadi reign come to an end and restore the Iran that once was a very good friend of Israel and a good friend of the West.
Sure.
And move away from being a state sponsor of terror. So I'm very hopeful that could happen. We'll see, but it's good news with Bibi back in there. I think Iran is afraid of Israel, and they know that Bibi he'll pull the trigger if he thinks he needs to. And
exactly.
And so we'll see how that develops.
The one thing about Bibi, even though you might, there's some decisions I know you didn't agree with, that you didn't think he was tough enough, but I don't think you want to mess with Bibi. He's sort of like a Trump-like figure,
right?
Isn't he?
Right.
You never know what he's going to do.
Yeah.
With Biden, you pretty much know what he's going to do.
Right, but what Bibi has now to his advantage is that the parties that will be with him in the coalition are all right-wing parties. Previous coalitions, he had to satisfy parties that were in his coalition that were a bit to the left of him. But you have to horse trade in a coalition. When you're trying to piece together a coalition, they have a whole month of like horse trading. You join our coalition, we'll give you this. But now the parties he's with will stand by him with the right-wing values. So I think we might see a whole different Bibi here, one that is much stronger in his right-wing views. You see, the right wing here was disappointed in Bibi because he says very right-wing things, gets elected, and then he doesn't always follow through. But now he has the support of parties around him. And so we'll see. I think we might see a very different Netanyahu this go round.
We're experiencing a lot of frontline, very famous black people saying very anti-Semitic things. Now we got Kyrie Irving, of all places, the Brooklyn Nets, and the most Jewish place in America, the highest concentration of Jews in America, Brooklyn, New York. Right?
Kyrie surprises me now. Kyrie is from West Orange, New Jersey. He went to the West Orange High School. That's where I'm from. And West Orange is a town, it's very, very Jewish. He grew up in Jewish areas. He plays for a team, like you said, in Brooklyn, New York, where there's a lot of Jews.
Yeah.
And and the ADL, the Anti-Defamation League, who got a donation for $500,000 from him, returned the money today. Right. They gave him back the money, and
this team just suspended him.
Yeah, the team suspended him, to their credit. And I
think they're Jewish owned, aren't they?
Could be. I don't. Yeah,
I know I think the head of the NBA is Jewish.
Yeah, David Stern, I think, right?
Yeah,
Adam Silver now.
Adam Silver,
Yep.
Right.
He's Jewish, yeah, for sure.
David Stern was the previous one, I guess. Yep. But it's just really, it's disturbing. Also, the silence from the non-Jewish celebrities who will speak up for every insult to the African American community, but are silent when it comes to anti-Semitism.
I'll tell you who took him on, and that's Shaq. Took him on. You can find the
Charles
tape of
Barkley
him.
Also,
did he?
Barkley called for the suspension of Kyrie Irving.
Yeah. Well, that's we need more of that, because you could say the things, you could say almost the same thing as what Kanye said about Jews, that I'm going 3 DEFCON against the Jews. And you could put the word blacks, you could put the word Christians, you could put the word Muslims, you could put any word in there, Asians, and it would be not acceptable. Right. So why is it acceptable when they put Jews in?
Right. So who speaks up? Jewish celebrities, a few of them, not even all of them. Jewish celebrities.
Yeah, where's Rob Reiner when you need him, huh?
Yeah, I mean, Shaq, amazing. I love Shaq.
He's great. I do too. I love that guy. JP has something.
Said that the players in the NBA, they'll complain about the owners, but they won't take one of their own to task. And I think it was Shaq who said that.
Yeah. Hey, JP wants to say something.
Yeah. So the Brooklyn owner's name is Joe Tsai. It's spelled Tsai. I don't know if that's a Jewish name or not.
I think he's an Asian. I think he's Asian. He could be
I think
Asian
you're right.
Jewish for all we know, but I think he's an Asian.
But there was a former player, Amari Stoudemire, who's a black former NBA player who's also Jewish, and he was very outspoken against Kyrie Irving's comments and all that.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. So he worked for Amari worked for the Nets, and he has a relationship with Kyrie. The former owner of the Nets was a Russian Jew, Podokarov or something like that.
Right.
So it is disturbing, but one of the reasons the state of Israel, the modern state of Israel, came into being in 1948, the father of modern Zionism, Theodor Herzl, he said that if in Europe they don't want us here, they hate us, so fine, we'll leave you guys behind and go have our own state. He saw the modern state of Israel as the answer to anti-Semitism, and said if we can't live amongst the Europeans who hate us, so we will leave and go to our own state.
Yeah, that was brilliant. Only we didn't really heed it until, many started to filter back to Israel, and but not enough did that, and then we had the Holocaust.
We know what happened.
I think that was. I heard that was mostly the non-religious Jews that came back. I think I heard it from you.
Yeah,
mostly the non-religious Jews came back, and they installed some kind of a socialist government there, right? And
I'm glad. I see you remember something from your tour to Israel. I'm impressed.
I'm remembering this from the last time you were at my house.
Oh,
okay. I'm serious. We talked about Yonit's relatives in Poland, and how Poland had Jews there for almost 900 years. 900 years.
Yeah.
And you lived fairly well there most of the time until all of a sudden they all turned on you.
Right. The Jews were invited into Poland by King Kazimierz of Poland. They came to Poland invited. And then
what year was that about?
It's you're close. It's about 1,000 years ago.
Yeah.
And King Kazimierz is a whole area of Poland. The Jewish area was called Kazimierz in the city of Krakow.
Yeah.
And many Jews lived there. And he saw Jews as industrious. It would help his country.
Sure.
Invited them in, and Jews lived well in Poland for a while. But we all know it didn't end well.
For a while. Hell, that's like
1,000 years,
Yeah, 1,000 years, or a little less, counting back from the Holocaust. They lived pretty well for 1,000 years. Who knew, right? Who knew? Anyways, let's move on. Morocco, first Arab country with a university synagogue. How? Wow! Did you know that? That's amazing.
Yeah, the Morocco, and again, Morocco's part of the Abraham Accords, and they've done like the United Arab Emirates, Dubai. It's been a very nice peace so far with Morocco, and they've taken steps to renew and reinvigorate. And it's not just like our peace with Jordan, where it's like a political peace, but the Jordanians, by and large, hate us, and we're very impressed. Also, by the way, with Bibi coming back in, we're going to see what happens with the Abraham Accords. Maybe he'll get Saudi Arabia on board. He has actually said, Bibi, that had I been in power, we would have, already had an agreement with Saudi Arabia. But Morocco's fantastic. Dubai is great, and let's see what happens with Bibi.
Well, there was a story out about how Iran was getting ready to invade Saudi Arabia, and that they were on big alert, and so was this country, the United States. Do you know anything about that?
Big alert in terms of what? Like on a war footing?
Yeah. It was imminent for a while, and then I think I saw it in the Jerusalem Post.
I didn't see that story.
I'm quoting something from the Jerusalem Post that you don't know about.
I was busy with 50 Jewish women this week, Dave.
Really? Does your wife know?
Wow.
And by the way, I'm at 50 Jewish women.
I had a tour with 50.
Yeah, I bet you had a tour.
Jewish mothers. Oh my gosh!
I mean, 10 Jewish women would have been enough for a tour. But 50? Wow, you're ambitious. What can I tell you?
It's a dream come true.
Yeah, all right. Well, listen, I got to get going here, but also, do you have any more scoops?
Well, I right now there's nothing that's really coming to me because we're sort of in flux here in Israel.
What about in the United States? Do you have any?
In the United States, I mean, I don't think it takes a genius or a great prophet to predict that the Senate and the House are both going to be in Republican hands after this election.
Yeah,
but
I don't know. After the last election, we gotta make sure we get out there. I don't care who you are, you gotta vote. You can't be a denier, and you can't expect to win without a vote.
Right. So, but I'm excited to see what happens. It's November 8th, correct?
Yes, my birthday. Right. It's my birthday present from everybody. I'm going to have a birthday present from everybody who votes. That's my birthday present right there.
I'll tell you one thing I learned today.
What's that?
I learned today. The day that the United States that the Trump administration moved the embassy from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem, I didn't realize it was on May 14th, 2018. May 14th is the day that Israel was declared a state. I didn't realize that they chose that date, obviously, to sort of correct this historic wrong that the capital should have been immediately recognized as being in Jerusalem.
Yeah, there you go. Now Spielberg is coming out with a movie about his family from when he was a little kid on, and that should be kind of interesting because it's a whole Jewish experience there.
I'm excited to see that.
Yeah, I'm gonna see it. I don't know. It's coming out very soon. Other than DaveWeinbaum.net, where can people find and contribute?
They can go to our website, IsraelAlliance.org or Facebook.com/IsraelAlliance.org. We'd love to hear from you guys.
Rabbi, at this age, and I'm about to be 74, for goodness sakes, the best instrument I play is the shoehorn. That's it. What do you mean? He laughed. What the hell? All right, so my friend,
I actually have a funny punchline to that, but I don't know.
Go ahead.
I can't say it on air, so it's and I'm a rabbi, so.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. I believe you. Sure, that's the ticket.
I really have a very funny line.
Of course you do.
No, but this is a kids show, and I don't know.
A kid show. Hey, kids, get back in school for a minute, will you? That's all right. All right. No, I don't want to. I don't. You can send it to me by message. I want to hear it by message, okay? All right, Rabbi. Shabbat shalom, my friend. How do you and eating the kids, okay?
Take care. You got it. Hi, everybody.
All right, and remember, go Ukraine. You're going to Ukraine to fight, right?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah, they need a 55-year-old fat rabbi. That's all they need here.
Well, last week you were 50. You've aged. Anyways, all right, I gotta go. I'll get the phone's ringing off the hook. Thanks a lot, buddy.
Bye, guys.
All right, see you. Hi there. Welcome to the Dave Weinbaum Show. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
It's Adolf.
Hi, Adolf. How you doing, buddy?
I'm getting ready to go to work. I got a meeting to go to.
Yeah, is this about the elections?
Yeah, I'm an election judge.
Yeah, okay. Good.
Hey, got to do my part. Make sure it's safe.
Yes, sir. Make sure it's not only safe, make sure it's there's no cheating going on.
Ain't that the truth?
Dang. What do you think?
I'm pretty sure in Pulaski County it'll be safe. So.
What do you think is going to happen?
I think the Democrats are going to take a wasting in the House. The Senate is going to be a little touchy and close. I'm not sure. It may be a runaway. It may be a total runaway. But whatever happens, when they take over the House, what they need to do is you start with the Department of Justice, and I'm not sure if they're in law part of it, but the FBI. You take the FBI to task because the FBI as a whole falls under the Hatch Act. It's part of the Hatch Act.
Yeah.
Which means they're not supposed to be political.
Right.
So every one of them that's been political, you put them out on the street. They get a job as, cleaning sewers and stuff.
Do you know that the Attorney General of the DOJ is in charge of the FBI as well?
That's right.
Bill Barr.
I don't know if he'd follow under that or not.
Bill Barr, who said, there couldn't have been any election misdeed that would cause enough to overthrow the election. This was December 30th, after a November 3rd election, and he was in charge of the FBI when they hid the Hunter Biden laptop story and took it out of social media, and then had 50 intel jerks sign a letter saying this was a Russian hoax. Later on, after the election, even the New York Times said this was legit, as well as the Washington Post.
Yeah, I know.
Wait, is this the same Bill Barr that was working on Biden's executive orders for the last 2 months of Trump's presidency? That same Bill Barr?
You got it.
You don't say.
Yeah.
Gee, who'd have thought that?
Yeah. Who'd have thought that? All right, what else you got?
I just thought I'd let you know that I'm going to go over and do my part tomorrow.
Okay. Have you voted yet, or?
Oh yeah, we have to vote because I'm the supervisor in another precinct, so I have to go vote early.
Yeah, I got Bill Hardwick coming in today.
Oh, cool.
So that
Very
should be
good
cool.
man.
Tell us what we should be looking to vote for, and not on the state side. So people should listen to that.
You betcha.
He'll educate us real good. The guy's a professor, for goodness sakes, amongst other things. So anyways, I bought a backhoe, but Lisa wouldn't let me keep her.
Oh no!
What you just said.
Hey, you're going to get in trouble with these.
No. I called the backhoe Susie. She backfired too much. What's wrong with you people? What is the matter with you people? Golly. Ow, and don't be putting your pen on me. And don't be whipping me. Ow. Look at this. They're whipping a poor old man back here. I need help.
Yeah. You need help, all right.
Yes, I need help.
Oh, yes, you do.
Yeah, you're getting sandbagged here.
Oh, my God. All right. Thanks a lot, my friend. Hi to Joanne.
We'll say hi to Joanne, and you say hi to Lisa. And
okay.
Have a good week.
You can say it right now. She's sitting right here.
Hi, guys.
Doesn't that take nerve on my part to do a joke like that?
Yes, it does. Well, I do it to Joanne all the time, too.
Yeah, well, I mean, she has a sense of humor sometimes.
Yep.
Right.
Joanne has a good sense of humor.
Yeah, good. All right, thanks a lot. Have a great weekend. And hi, Joanne.
I heard you.
All right, thanks. Bye-bye. Hi, Joanne. How you doing? All right.
All right, be gracious and be good.
Okay, yeah, we'll do our best to be one of those. Anyways, I don't know. I don't know if I can do both of them.
Later.
All right, get off my phone already. Thank you so much.
Keep that election fair.
Keep the election legit and all that other stuff.
Yep.
Okay, so 5:10, we got 5 minutes. We've got Chris Adamo, and that should be interesting, I would think. Anyways, let's see what else we got that we can entertain you with. Let's entertain you. Oh, let's who's out there right now? That's Obama. Let's do Obama, Ellen Obama, followed by the Brit. How's that?
You're a young person who's not exactly sure where life is taking you. That's okay. We can't all be Barack Obama and have our first job be president.
I love America. It's an amazing place. And do you know what I've come to realize, right? Americans, you basically do everything that we do, but you do it bigger and you do it better. Like, we have stupid people here. But your stupid people are world class. And that is not me saying, oh, all Americans are stupid. No, America also has the smartest people on the planet. What I'm saying is that when America does stupid, you do stupid. Like, our village idiot is in a park shouting at clouds. Yours is president.
That thing is, we've been doing that for a long time. There was some point, where, you give a guy a break, he could maybe just make one mistake and own up to it. Carter knew he was screwed. He was a terrible president, but he knew it. He knew he wasn't getting stuff done, but he was trying. This guy's in total denial. He's saying there's no inflation, that it's all around the world, there's nothing to look at here. The gas thing, well, we got to have this green energy. Nobody gives a damn about the green energy. It's stupid. It's like, and it's supposed to take place in 2035. Okay, really? The level of the ocean has not changed for 4,000 years. 400 years. You have people like Barack Obama who believes in climate change and believes the oceans are going to rise. He's got a place on an island called Martha's Vineyard, and he's got a place in Hawaii. And that's, well, as you know, right on the beach. 2 beach homes. So he doesn't believe it, does he? Would he put his homes right there? He's not a stupid man. He's a compromised man, but he's not a stupid man. Give me a break. Okay. So, well, I got time, so I'm going to do some of this stuff. It seems to me like if we keep this going, this momentum going, I think we're going to do very well in the elections. So I think we got to keep the big mo going, and we'll get there. But you got to get out and vote. You can't not assign this to somebody else. You have to be the one to do it, because if you're not, and you have other people thinking the way you are, we will lose. Okay, and it'll be our fault this time. All right, maybe you could say the last time, well, we were cheated. We probably were, but even with that, we could have had more people go out because they all thought pretty much that Trump had it in the bag. So why vote, right? You can't let that kind of thinking allow you not to vote. It's that simple. All right, I see a handsome face there. I wonder if Chris knows. Yeah, I know. I can't. Is that you? No, really? He plays right along. I like this guy. All right, let's play his song, please. Ladies and gentlemen, lifetime patriot, Wyoming Sicilian, not on the witness protection program, pissed off mightily against Liz Cheney, so much that she threatens the GOP. He's an author, star of radio, TV, and podcasts. Please welcome all the way from who knows where, probably Missouri, Chris Adamo. I want you to play clip 6 for Chris, and I want to get his reaction to it, please.
Dear Liz, thank you for your generous in-kind contribution to my campaign. Your recent TV ad urging Arizonans not to vote for me is doing just the opposite. Our campaign donations are skyrocketing, and our website nearly crashed from the traffic. Kari Lake is running for governor of Arizona. As noted, she joins us tonight. Kari Lake, thanks so much for coming on. Is that true?
That's true. Liz Cheney now is officially my biggest fundraiser to date. We've raised $500,000 since she did the anti-endorsement, and people are still flocking to our website, KariLake.com, and donating. It's been an incredible boom for us in fundraising. So I got to extend a big thank you to Liz. And at this rate, Tucker, we might have to invite her to our inaugural ball because we're going to have to thank her for bringing in so much fundraising money for us.
Your comments?
Okay. Do you want the direct up front comment or the roundabout long story?
No, I don't want you to lie. Stop lying.
No lie to it. It's just that I'm going to tell you some of the experiences I've had with people discussing my book.
Yeah.
Back in Wyoming, even just a few weeks ago, one of the key players, a good conservative pro-lifer, made the statement. She said, because we were talking about Alinsky, and she said, we just don't have a defense. One of the things that he does to us, we just don't have any defense for, is when they start mocking and intimidating us, mocking and ridiculing us. I'm sorry. And I explained to her, I said, that's all they've got. And the minute you respond to that in a non-defensive manner, it loses all power over you. Yeah. I could make the most outlandish statement about you, and the minute you say that's outlandish and I reject it, you're okay. Kari Lake is living proof of that.
Yes.
Not just with Liz Cheney. I mean, she's doing an outstanding example right here, but this is the way she responds. Ron DeSantis is another one. He responds this way. You attack him over something, and instead of trying to apologize, and I'm not the bad guy you say I am, he goes to the heart of the matter and say, this is the reality of the situation. I'm on the right side of this. You're attacking me because you're on the wrong side of it, and this is why you're a leftist and why I'm not going to do things.
Yeah, I tell you what, we're seeing that. Kari Lake, she stands out amongst them because
she's brilliant at it. She's
not just brilliant. She's a journalist. She knows all the tricks. Yeah. They can't figure out how to get her because she gets them right back.
Yeah. Well, the first thing that she does is, I'm not accepting the premise of your attack, whatever it is. Liz Cheney wants to what you call it, an anti-endorsement. Liz Cheney wants to castigate Kari Lake. She turns around and says, good, let her do it, because I sure don't want an endorsement from Liz Cheney.
Yeah.
One of the last things any of us should want is somebody like Liz Cheney or Mitch McConnell coming out and saying, you're the candidate we want.
Well, that was the strategy of the Democratic Party now, because they invested money. They probably invested money with Kari Lake because they wanted all the MAGA, all the Trump-endorsed people to get to be in the election because they thought they would all lose.
Yeah, and
they really don't have a lot of brain power in there, do they?
No, what happens is they get behind closed doors, they talk to themselves. They get further and further into their lunacy. Before long, you've got people like AOC being not only, and I'm not exaggerating here, not only the ideological, but the moral and philosophical icons of their movement, and they look at each other and they don't realize how far off the deep end they've gotten. So they're not embarrassed by it. And as long as we played nice and meet them in the middle, all the Mitch McConnell pablum that we've had to deal with, as long as we did that, we validated their positions, no matter how lunatic they were. You got people like Carrie Lake again, and I honestly think that Donald Trump broke the dam on this, because he said, we're not going to play Republican politics as usual back in 2016.
Yeah.
And he called them out, and they all hate him for it. Paul Ryan, supposedly a good conservative,
Paul Ryan,
a VP candidate, hates Donald Trump and was supporting the Democrats ultimately.
Sure. Mitt Romney, you got a whole bunch of these jerks.
Go down
Murkowski,
being exposed. We're not going back. That genie is not going back into the bottle.
Yeah. Hey, Brazil elections. I noticed you had a little snippet on Twitter on that. A little picture of one gathering of what's the guy's name? Bolsonaro or something like that.
Bolsonaro.
Bolsonaro, yeah. And the other was
De Silva
for the liberal.
Yeah,
and it was. I don't understand.
We're seeing a replay of 2020. The difference being, and I'm telling you, I have two takes on Biden's speech the other night. I'd like to get to that.
Yeah, sure.
One of them is that they have such massive cheating planned. They have such massive, blatant cheating planned, because that's the only way they can win. It's the only way they could win in 2020. It wasn't alleged voting irregularities. It was massive cheating.
And the Supreme Court of Pennsylvania agrees with you. They rigged the election.
Yeah.
And they won't do anything about it, though.
No, we're too much water under the bridge.
Yeah.
That's what the left counted on from us. We'd say, oh, well, we'll just have to make the best of it from here. The people of Brazil aren't doing that.
Yeah.
And one of the reasons I think for that ugly, vicious speech that they gave to Joe the other night, and he did a pretty good job of reciting what he heard in his earpiece, is the fact that they are terrified that the Americans are going to see what's going on in Brazil, especially if they turn it around in Brazil. And it's just as absurd that De Silva possibly won in Brazil.
Sure.
It's absolutely beyond reality. If they turn it around in Brazil, they're afraid the Americans are going to go, we need to do that here.
Yeah.
And we do. We need to stop accepting these outcomes and saying, okay, they cheated, they lied, they stole it, but we're going to play along with it. It'd be like somebody breaking into your house, and we now call them a property owner. We're going to respect their rights as a property owner. That's idiocy and cowardice on our part, and we've got to get past that. So if we see Brazil turn around at this point, you could see, you're going to see a Democrat meltdown over it anyway, but you could see Americans realizing we've got to seize the reins if we're going to get our country back. Same thing in Israel, by the way. Bibi Netanyahu looks to be back in the prime minister.
Yeah, I just had the rabbi on. He prophesized that 2 months ago.
Here, but that is huge. That is the left
absolutely
being totally dismissed by people who recognize we've got to have.
And he's going to, unlike before, he's going to have a huge majority.
Yeah,
where he's going to, he's not going to have to.
It's the same thing you were talking about just before I got on, where it's like people get out and vote. We've got to have these numbers so the opposition can't chew at the sides and whittle away at our strength and undermine us. We've got to have a bold majority that goes forward in unity and strength. And I'm telling you, the American people are at that point. I'll say up front right now, I don't care what the Biden cabal thinks of it. Either we win big on Tuesday or there will be massive cheating. I mean, that's the only way we don't win big.
It seems that way. You know what? The polls are always pretty much against us.
Yeah.
And now all of a sudden they're slightly with us. I don't.
So you can add 15 points to that because that's how
what
much,
I'm thinking.
When they weight their polls and things, that's how much they take away from reality. So
it's really close.
If they
just
say
to keep
we have a 1% majority, we got a 16% majority.
It could well be that way, but notice the trend is for the Republicans in just about every single case.
Yeah,
we could unless there's total cheating, and if there's cheating that we don't know about or can't combat or can't make people alert, shame on us. I mean, shame on them too, but shame on us. I mean, we should have been ready for all that cheating back in 2020. Who the hell do you think we were dealing with?
I fully agree with you about that. But the number two thing, and I'd like to reiterate this, and I'm hoping that our side can get the message. They had a two-pronged attack on us in 2020. And the first one was the election day cheating and the shutting down the polls in the middle of the night and all these things. That was phase one. Phase two, we could have dealt with, but we didn't. Phase two was the fact that they had this propaganda blitz ready coast to coast on every so-called news venue, every fake news outlet in the country. They had the same talking points that this was the fairest, this was the most honest election in history. And within days, our side is using terms because we don't have the backbone, we don't have the spine to say, we just saw the election get stolen. So what are we saying? We're saying possible voting irregularities and pablum like that. All that meant is we're ready to roll over. We're ready to accept the results of the theft and just put up with it. Well, that's what they counted on. That was the part that we had a choice in, and we dropped the ball there.
We're too damn civilized.
It's not just civilized, it's cowardly.
Well, yeah, it's cowardly. But, the one thing about elections is, it takes time to get the proof. You got to admit that. You know what I'm saying? It takes time. You can't just say the day after that you're sure you have evidence that this thing happened. It takes a little time. I'll tell you something. Am I wrong?
I have rare argument with you, except when
you
tell a joke. We argue about that. However, let me tell you this. Let's just imagine a different scenario. If the roles were reversed.
Yeah.
And if the
roles
Trump
were
campaign
reversed
had
in
actually
2016,
been as unpopular as the left said it was, and yet Trump had all these mechanisms in place like they accused him of in 2016, and if in 2020 the same things had happened, the 6 states shut down, the 6 swing states, the 6 key states, all shut down, and Biden had been way ahead in all of them, and suddenly they opened back up, and Trump had this razor-thin majority, like Bolsonaro had a razor-thin loss to the other guy.
Would there be a revolution?
Razor-thin. The left would have fixed things by the end of the week.
Yeah.
They would not have rolled over. They would not have tried to be reasonable or anything like that. The left would have said, "No, you're not taking our country away from us. We want it."
Well, that's why I said we're too civilized. You're saying that's cowardly. Okay, that's fine.
If we see,
I'll accept that. I'll accept
that.
We've
got to call it out as cheating.
But,
we've got to call it out as
we're like law and order people.
We're
like law and order people.
Yeah.
Civilized, okay?
There's
not.
a time for that.
This is not what we're dealing with over there.
Right.
They're not
exactly
civilized.
They still claim the 2016 election that Trump won wasn't legitimate. They're still complaining about 2000 whenever Al Gore lost.
They're complaining about Russia, and they're complaining about Al Gore.
And again, there is no sense of self-awareness, but it is beyond naivety on our part to expect people with a Marxist agenda, which is an agenda founded on lies, on intimidation, on theft, on every sordid thing you can imagine. It's ridiculous for us to ever expect them to play fair. They play hardball. Do you want your country? You better play hardball back. And like you said, number one is the people who feel like, well, I don't know if my vote makes a difference. One vote doesn't make a difference. If those people don't get out there on Tuesday on our side, they're a big part of the problem.
I agree. They can get they will get as many people as they can out, and legit or illegit, you know that, and they're going to get people to try to cheat in big manner, and we got to be aware of that. And we got to be diligent in our enforcement that this doesn't happen. I heard they surrounded a few of these remote Democrat deposits,
drop boxes,
which there are some armed individuals that are around those now from our side, and I say stay there.
Yep, absolutely. What we've already seen, we've seen leftist judges trying to say, "Oh, you can't do that. That's illegal or something." You've got to stay far enough away so that we can cheat.
Yeah,
the whole thing about voter ID is you got to make sure we have the opportunity to cheat.
Oh, that's right.
What they're always saying.
We know that,
and we should never regard it higher than that.
There's some politicians on the Democratic side now that Georgia has shown success with this early voting. They're now saying that's fine now. whereas before they were saying, no, can't do that. They want after the election to have voting. Okay.
Yeah, again, the goal is to facilitate cheating.
Yeah.
The democratic process will only work when both sides have a goal of doing what's best and doing what's right.
Yeah.
And so if you have one side that's going to use it for the greater good for everybody, and you have the other side that's going to use it for the advancement of itself, you can guarantee that side is not going to play by the rules. They're going to bend the rules at every opportunity.
It's not just advancement for themselves. When they're quoting Save Democracy, they're talking about the democracy, same kind of democracy as in Russia, the CCP, the Korea, North Korea, and Cuba, places like that. That's what they're saying. Well, they want one-party rule, period. And they want you controlled if you're out there gallivanting with the thoughts of maybe Trump was a better president and we want him back, and we're not going to put up with this BS anymore. Hey, give me some insight into the politicalization of David DePepe's attack on Paulie Pelosi.
Okay, I actually wrote a piece on that this last week.
I know that's what I'm quoting. You don't think I read any of your stuff, but I do.
And the thing that I think it needs most to be compared to is being a former Wyoming resident who, by the way, was actually out on the streets at the time. I wasn't in the witness protection program, but
yeah, sure.
Back in 1998, when the Matthew Shepard incident happened, Matthew Shepard was gay, and so the first presumption was, hey, we've got a martyr. This is the left now. We've got a martyr that we can use to say those Wyoming bigots hate gays, and that's why they all were happy to gang up.
1998, right?
1998, October of 1998. They were, I'm telling you, they were not, there was no grief over Matthew Shepard. There were some AOC tears, but there was no real grief. There was jubilation. They had their weapon. The left had been pushing hate crimes legislation in the Wyoming legislature for years, never got anywhere with it. And boy, they were going to get it. Now they were going to get it because they had their excuse, and it went nationwide. And local law enforcement in Wyoming knew almost immediately that this was not a situation of these guys hunting down a homosexual and killing him because of his lifestyle. This was a drug deal that had gone bad. They knew it, but it didn't fit the media narrative, and so most people in the country didn't hear about it for years. 2020 ABC report, 2004, 6 years later, investigated it and said, no, this wasn't about the guy's personal life, his personal preferences. It wasn't about that. This was a drug deal.
Right.
This was a drug deal that went bad. That happens a lot with drug deals. There's lots of crime in those situations, and that's all this was. And the media had totally distorted it.
Okay, so what happened?
Well, in 2009, the federal government under Obama passed more hate crimes legislation, and they called it the Matthew Shepard Act, because they're still going to perpetuate the narrative because the narrative was good for them.
Right.
Now, forward that to this Pelosi situation. It's bizarre, and we still don't know all of what happened or how, but the situation was totally bizarre. And yet, the minute the thing happened, that Paul Pelosi, Nancy Pelosi's husband, who has a really seedy lifestyle to begin with, the minute we hear he gets attacked by somebody in his home, well, the guy must have been a Trump supporter.
Yeah.
And by golly, this is proof that all those right-wing, hateful people are dangerous. And I don't know if they're pushing for hammer control. They're actually just pushing to shut us up. But
that might be coming,
Yeah, you never know. I shouldn't give them ideas. But in the process of all this, the idea is they seize on every situation. They don't care about Paul Pelosi. They don't care about women's rights when they let men into the locker rooms. They don't care about any of this stuff. It's seize the situation, use it to manipulate their gullible minions, who they have total contempt for. Because if you're going to lie to somebody and manipulate them and get them to run off, on a wild goose chase on false terms, you don't respect them. You see them as a pawn.
Right.
And this is what they're doing in this situation as well. Thankfully, word is getting out fast enough that this is what they're up to, and it isn't looking
near as cut and dry as they tried to make it.
They're trying so much, and it happened in late October. Okay, think about whatever happens in October, November, September, October, and I guess early November. It's not going to be believed in early November now. But
again, they save these things. You hear the term October surprise, and whether or not this thing was planned, I'm not suggesting that. But the fact is, they'll seize on this if they think it's an opportunity. I will tell you something else. Going back to 1998 in Wyoming, the spring of 1998, right before the legislative session opened, 1 week before that, we suddenly get this report. All the state papers, all the news agencies, that there was a hate crime against a synagogue in Cheyenne, Wyoming. Okay, now the hate crime was that somebody had printed a swastika on a sheet of paper, a computer printout, and slipped it under the door. Okay, not your textbook hate crime. Normally you use spray paint or something. This was something that they could slip under the door, say there was a hate crime, and the next afternoon, I'm not kidding you, there was a gaggle of leftists that had this evidence of this hate crime, and they had 2 Holocaust survivors, and they're at the governor's desk showing it to him. And the initial feeling about this was, oh my gosh, we got the Wyoming Nazi Party going on. We need to push hate crimes legislation. Fortunately, the governor figured out the ruse and stood up to it. But this is the kind of thing that they'll do if they're trying to plant a seed there, or if they have a situation like this Paul Pelosi situation where some lunatic shows up at the door, and he was a leftist. He was a public nudist. He presided over gay weddings. He had all kinds of left-wing activism.
and he was mentally ill, and he lived in a bus. He had a BLM flag. Now, this is the kind of guy that in a place like San Francisco, you would think that by now, and even before he's still in jail, I assume, that he would never have gone to jail. They would have put a little ankle bracelet on him and sent him back to his bus. Yeah, that's what the way they treat those people that have those kind of credentials. Am I wrong?
It's just at this point, it sounds good to say he was a Trump supporter.
Oh, and Biden did that yesterday, didn't he? Or he did it Wednesday.
They've all done that. As a matter of fact, that was all over the news media because it was a good narrative. This is what these people.
But it's so blatantly, such a blatant lie that I wonder if they don't lose more votes than they gain.
The worst part of that is when you get the Mitch McConnells on our side, and I can even name some media figures and stuff. That look, we don't want to get this carried away. We don't. Well, what are we doing? We're acting defensive. We're acting apologetic. We're accepting the label. We're accepting the guilt, and that's the only success that these people can have with that.
Sure, I agree with that. All right, one last thing. Pandemic amnesty. Are you going to go? Are you going to go protest for pandemic? Here, let's ask one of my guests on the show here. Here we got Andrew. We got Fauci here.
Fauci.
Yeah,
Anthony Fauci.
Yeah, he doesn't know. He's shaking his head. Put him up by the camera. That's not close enough.
Does the name Joseph Mengele ring a bell?
Yes, it does.
Okay, should we have given him amnesty if he said he was sorry?
According to the Democrats, of course.
Yeah. I'll tell you what they're afraid of now. What I always want to preface this with is we're not about getting vengeance on these people. And believe me, there's times when I feel like I'd love to choke a few people, but what we're looking at is justice here.
Yes.
I could go down the list. Just to give you an idea, okay, the denial of hydroxychloroquine and ivermectin. People died because they were denied those medications. Andrew Cuomo putting elderly people that were infected in nursing homes to infect as many people as possible. Lots of people died.
This is genocide.
This is absolutely genocide. Forced vaccines and censorship of the people who are being injured by the vaccine.
And they're still trying to kill little kids by these vaccines.
Still pushing it. Lockdowns on people, masks on school children. We had depression and suicide. That's more deaths because of it. And now we have a dysfunctional workforce because of all these people that were sitting at home, terrified behind closed doors. Okay, these are all the crimes that were committed
because of this whole COVID pandemic scam that they pulled on America. Now, the biggest thing that we want to do right now is bring the people who perpetrated this to justice. And the reason we want to do that is because if you can commit that kind of a crime against humanity and then just say you're sorry, you could do it again next year. We have got to go to the source of this. All of those who abused authority to advance their political agenda, which is what we saw it was all about. It was the Gretchen Whitmers and the Gavin Newsoms that were doing
and
these
the Randy Weingarten, the union person, keeping all those teachers out of school and trying to close those schools down even now, while she's the one that's begging for this amnesty BS.
Oh yeah, and in every one of these cases, these people, they will do it again if they think they can advance their political agenda next year with it. They'll do it all over again. And so we've got to bring people to justice. We've got to find where these crimes were committed. And I'll go back to Joseph Mengele. There's no saying you're sorry after you do some of those things, because you did those things with a clear head, according to your sick agenda of perpetrating the agenda that you wanted, perpetrating the program that you wanted against these people.
Let's see what Rand Paul is going to do, because he's the guy that's going to be the leader of this in the Senate. And let's see what Jim Jordan's going to do on the FBI. I mean, they're going to be under a lot of pressure from people that are in our mode of Trump supporters to get this thing done and to do it right and to take no crap from the other side like they did to us. It's not so much. It's not. You're right. It's not so much revenge. It's that, okay, you played this way. This is justice. We're going to do the same damn thing you did. Only we're going to do it better.
Make sure you're not in a position to do this to the next batch of kids.
That's right. You got it right.
Again, to hate to be the rain cloud here, but I'm reminded of the Gingrich Revolution in '94.
Yeah.
An incident people don't really talk about much anymore. After the Gingrich Revolution, they went through the books on Capitol Hill, and the accounting was so bad, millions of dollars missing everywhere.
Yeah.
It was horrible. But the way the Democrats had run the Congress for 50 years with no oversight. They're all getting filthy rich. They're all writing checks. They're all doing this and that. And the Gingrich response was, well, we can't be vindictive. We've got to be above that.
Right.
And so let's just all let bygones be bygones. And the people that got cheated in that were not the Republican Party, because they were still able to enjoy their perks of victory and stuff. It was the American people who needed that justice to clean up the Congress, and it never happened.
It's funny. The last guest on my show today is Dick Morris, and he's the one that told Bill Clinton, and I'm almost quoting verbatim, that Bill didn't want to sign up for that, and he says, if you don't sign that now, you will lose the election.
Mm-hmm.
And he did, and he won.
You know, after Bill Clinton won his re-election, they asked him what was the turning point of his first term, because he was going downhill fast.
Yep.
And the turning point of his first term was the Oklahoma City bombing, because it was a spectacular enough crime, and they, again, shamelessly exploited it to attack those on the right. And Alinsky was in full swing at that point. Those on the right, boy, well, we're sorry, we're not trying to be contentious. Let's back down. Let's get along.
Well, they were attacking Rush Limbaugh a lot.
Yeah,
as I recall.
Absolutely. And and thankfully Rush didn't stand for it, but we lost our momentum because we reacted apologetically to Oklahoma City. I'm not going to apologize for it. I didn't do it.
That's
I
right.
Wouldn't do a thing like that.
And you certainly weren't there with Paulie Pelosi, were you?
Yeah.
And neither was I. And so I like the fact that you are standing up for what America should stand for, and we don't need to bow ourselves over false accusations as if we did it.
We can't apologize our way into victory.
Other than DaveWeinbaum.net, where can people find you and buy your book?
Well, It's at Amazon still. It's you just look up Rules for Defeating Radicals or look up my name, Christopher G. Adamo, and you'll find it. It's still I'm seeing more and more people. It seems like either they've read it or they've picked up on the message, because there's more and more people fighting this way. This is what we need to do.
Absolutely.
Yes, my commentaries are at daveweinbaum.net and GOP USA, America First Report, Red Voice Media, thethinkingconservative.com.
You know, Chris, and don't give me any crap, because you did an elongated bit for yourself, and I appreciate that. I want you to do that. I want you to sell a lot of books. That gives me cred too, you know. Anyways,
before you say anything else, I want you to know I appreciate the program,
okay,
except for the jokes. Go ahead.
Yeah, too bad. You're going to get one, and that's your punishment.
My punishment.
Yeah, maybe you don't deserve it, but you're going to get it anyways. You know, Chris, I grew up in a neighborhood so tough that our high school cheerleaders were drive-bys. Ladies and gentlemen. Oh, you didn't like that one?
I didn't get that one.
I never did either, Chris. I just
we had
never
drive-by cheerleaders. Our neighborhood was so tough. Our high school had drive-by cheerleaders.
Doesn't work.
Oh, come on. Jeez, I think that's... he's laughing now. He can't help himself.
Oh, I just love the fact Lisa's giving it to you.
Okay. You know what?
I'm not afraid.
I'm up for examination. And look at that. They're whipping me.
I am not afraid to stand up against
JP,
bad
what
jokes.
you doing?
I did want everybody to know, though, that in the comments section, there's a direct link to buy Chris's book on the Amazon site.
Yeah.
So,
hey, why don't you play that, you know what, rotating my tires. I want my tires rotated, all right? This is what Lisa does to me.
Oh.
Okay, this is what Lisa... Well, that wasn't the one.
Oh, you want sound like a dentist?
Yeah, the full one. Okay.
Well, let me find it.
Oh, now he's got to find it. Oh, that tickles. Stop it. No. All right, let's do basketball. I lost my nuts.
I just
damn. We gotta go straight to the basketball now. I think my nuts just dropped off. Oh man, that hurt. Okay, you're not even laughing. You don't care. Yeah, all right. It's in bad taste,
guys
right?
Have a wonderful weekend. Keep fighting the good fight.
Thank you. Hi to your wife. All right. Hope she's doing well. All right. Take care, my friend.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. All right. He's always funny. It's interesting because, it's because Italians and Jews and everybody from the Mediterranean area that maybe has, gone away from their country, we all have similar senses of humor. Even blacks, I have similar senses of humor, mostly with a lot of blacks, and it's interesting. In fact, I got a message from one of my teammates in high school on football. Very nice message about my birthday and all, and being a good football player and all that stuff. And his name is Oliver Ruff. How's that for a name? R-U-F-F. And he wasn't huge, this guy, but they made up a position for the guy, Monster Man, which was he was the guy that was like a middle linebacker, but he could go wherever he wanted to and just knock the living hell out of whoever he thought was either running a play or without obviously penalties and things like that. And his daughter was like the big standout for Black Lives Matter. I wonder if she found out that what a bad crowd they were. I don't know, but in the Chicago area, I don't remember her name, but anyways, I always liked this guy. And when we have these reunions, we spend some time together. Okay. We've got in 11 minutes. We've got Hardwick. We've got Bill Hardwick. That should be very interesting. All you local people out there, you want to hear about all the policies? that you should or should not be voting on. You're going to hear about it next because I have questions about it. I don't know. Some gal came in my restaurant, says, "Oh, you know all about this," and I'm looking at this thing like I've never seen it before. Okay.
If you'd listen to me, you would.
Well, this
is the same information
I've
been trying to share with you.
There's a certain amount of pain that goes with listening to you sometimes when I'm watching sports or I'm prepping shows, which is a lot of the time. Let me explain this to you.
All right.
So I figure I'd get in. Okay, stop the whipping. Oh, that hurts.
All right.
So I figured I'd get the expert. We both know this guy knows more about it than either one of us.
Hey, I got my stuff from Don Mayhew. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
He's got it.
There's no hitting. Whipping and hitting. I see. You don't see me doing that. This is abuse. This is very abusive. I want it reported. Hey, Theo Duda, Mengele died in Brazil in 1979, so he escaped, right? And Theo Duda again, there really should be a literacy test to vote on amendments. I would agree with that.
Yeah, the problem is they do a really good job of making and it seems intentional, to really make the wording very confusing. It's not clear sometimes what exactly you're voting on.
Exactly. That's exactly. Because you could be voting for something and it looks good, and suddenly there's something you find out about that throws the whole thing off that you shouldn't have voted for it.
Yep.
So that's why you need an expert to be on the show here to make sure that you don't fall for a bad amendment or a bad bill, right? Okay. All right, so let's do some commercials right now. That'll be the second set, and we'll be fine for the rest of the show. Spend your money with these people. They're good people. Thanks.
With warmer temperatures right around the corner and allergies ramping up, now's the time to get those AC units serviced. At Hartley's, we pride ourselves in offering outstanding service with fast response times. With proper maintenance, you can make those hot days be a lot cooler and remove those pesky allergens that always seem to find their way into your home. Call us today so you can be living a much cooler and healthier life. Hartley's, community born, community raised, community serving.
Call Hartley's Climate Control today at 573-368-3163.
Kent's Jewelry does custom engravings for almost anything. Awards, signs, guns, swords, mugs, yetis, and knives. Kent is the premier custom jeweler in mid-Missouri. We have a great staff, the technology, and equipment to create what you dream for, jewelry and engraving. Kent's Jewelry, 907 North Pine, downtown Rolla, 573-364-1030. That's 573-364-1030. Locally owned. Never be too coy to tell your friends and family about Koi Sushi and Hibachi. Celebrate the best Chinese-Japanese restaurant in the Midwest. Call 573-426-5551 to make a reservation or order takeout. Locally owned, 1808 North Bishop, Rolla, Missouri.
We can sum up McDonald's new crispy chicken sandwich in one word. Crispy, but also juicy and tender. Okay, it's crispy, juicy, tender. All one word? But then, also pickle. Oh, and potato bun, which is two words. Okay, we can't sum up our new crispy chicken sandwich in one word, so you'll just have to try it to understand it. Order ahead on the McDonald's app at participating McDonald's. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Merrill's Quarry and Asphalt, 40 years serving cities, counties, and everyday businesses with driveways for people who live and work in our little piece of heaven right smack dab in the middle of America. Call 573-578-9101 for your free estimate of rocking, rolling, paving, driveways, sealing, and striping, too. That's 573-578-9101 for your free estimate.
Your home is your castle. You don't need unwanted hassle. Don't let those creatures move in to stay. Let us protect you. is locally owned and family operated right here in Rolla, a Google preferred business. Our customer service and your satisfaction is our number one goal. So call Plank today at 368-3333. Plank from out of pest control will save the day.
Busy schedule? Let your locally owned Price Chopper help you save time with online shopping. It's easy. Sign up to tcmarkets.com or download our mobile app in the App Store or Google Play. Create an account and browse through the categories and choose the items you need. When you place your order, your personal shopper will get all of the items you've selected, taking the same care you would and following your notes. We offer free curbside pickup, so you don't even have to get out of your car. Start your online order today and no online shopping fee for a limited time. Go to tcmarkets.com or download our mobile app to get started. Price Chopper. Fresher savings every day. A-Car Real Estate, where experience matters. 532 million sold since 2003, the number one sales volume in Phelps County. As a client for decades, I can say they are the best in mid-Missouri. Call 573-368-7355. That's 573-368-7355 for the best real estate experience you'll ever have.
Maybe it's for a kitchen you've always wanted. Maybe it's just to have a little extra room. Whatever the reason you're considering a new home loan, it's good to know that Town & Country Bank will guide you in the right direction. Our experienced local lenders are here to help you with a new home construction, remodeling projects, and fixed and adjustable rate home loans. You can even start the process online by clicking Online Mortgage Center at tcbanks.com. Smart, friendly solutions. Town & Country Bank. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Okay, hello there. We're back. I think we got a pretty good audience today, and my wife's claiming that she sent out 95 or so reminders to groups, and all of a sudden she's got 135 shares out of the deal. And so welcome back. You're about to see well, this is really the part that's the election special, because in a couple minutes we've got Bill Hardwick coming in, and that is not Bill Hardwick. That is my lovely bride. A little feisty today, I would say. That's Lisa Ann Weinbaum, the law. She calls her. She thinks she's the law. Can you believe that? Anyways, here's a little snippet I get from the news. Weeks before we died, this is from a nurse who's a hospice nurse. Those are the ones that stay there with the person until they die, basically, to soothe them and things. Weeks before we die, we start seeing dead relatives and pets and friends. Wow. This is something that this hospice nurse said, and I don't know if that's true or not. Anyone else experienced that? I don't know. 2,000 mules, and this was told by somebody else on this show. Engel, Reet, and Phillips are jailed because they won't reveal their sources to the judge. Well, an Obama-appointed judge. These are the guys that proved that the election was cheated on and that it had enough votes stolen that it threw it, along with the fact that the Hunter Biden laptop being hidden by the FBI and Attorney General Bill Barr, who was then the Attorney General of Donald J. Trump while he was sending out Joe Biden executive orders to kill our country. Amazing. And this guy's all over the news and stuff like that. Well, that could have thrown it too, because 17% of the Biden voters said had they known about it, they wouldn't have voted for Biden. So even with all the cheating, on the other aspects of this, including in Pennsylvania and Georgia, Trump would have won.
It was full suppression of that story.
Yeah, full suppression
Complete.
by the government. That is treason, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, it's hard to put it any other way. It's treason. And Bill Barr needs to answer that. He needs to answer for that. The AG, the Attorney General in charge of the FBI.
I lay there the other night trying to go to sleep, and I was thinking about some of this because we had the show in a couple days. So I was starting to think about stuff already because I start thinking about the show Tuesday or Wednesday each week. I start listening to more stuff, getting prepped. And I just lay there thinking, is this it almost seems like a bad dream. Is this actually happening this way? I mean, because it is, but it just seems like it should just be a bad dream or some kind of nightmare.
Yeah,
I mean,
it does, doesn't it?
Yeah, it really does.
I mean, that's what I was thinking about all the oil. And then last week, JJ, well, you know, they're going to do that. Don't worry about that, Dave. That's the least of your worries. I'm still worried. Okay, now I'm worried again because they have some bill that's going to leave out a good portion of the country. They're going to make this a racist bill. In other words, everyone that they think is in their voting area is going to get aid, and the rest of us will freeze. Okay? So it's just an outrage. You know, just terrible to think about that. And why are we talking about that now?
You have a comment.
Can you imagine? Yes, can I hear it? Go ahead.
I can't really read it.
Why? Is it dirty? Is it nasty?
John Stevens said, I heard Warnock for Georgia's Senate race say you can vote right or wrong. I agree.
I heard Warnock for Georgia's Senate race say you can vote right or wrong.
Mm-hmm.
I heard, okay, wait a minute. I'm not sure I understand it. I heard Warnock for Georgia Senate race say you can vote right or wrong. I agree. Okay, well, I'm backing Herschel Walker. I don't know about that. Oh, nice to have you listening, John Stevens. Yes, and I'll play in some tournament you want me to play in next year, for goodness sakes. Boy, I played the other day and I sucked. I was so bad.
Was that the same John?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know.
John Stevens, you know. Anyways, what else do we got? Anything?
You had the three.
All right, you got Theo Duda. Many high-level Nazis escaped, right? The Hunting Hitler series on History Channel was really good. Yeah. Yeah, and they all went to Brazil, and I'm sure some of them are still there. Who was the famous guy they captured, though, and they eventually hung him? Who was that guy?
There's been all kinds of rumors that Hitler actually escaped to another country for a while and hung out, and then they eventually killed. I don't know if that's actually true or not, but that's a legend I've heard on that part.
You know what?
Who knows?
I've got people telling me that J.F. Kennedy Jr. is alive, and he's going to be the next vice president to Donald Trump, right?
Correct.
I mean, I don't want to even talk about that stuff because it's, you know, I'm hearing the election isn't going to happen, this, that, and the other, and it's BS. Never happens, okay? You hear this stuff, and, you know, you say, well, I'll wait till they tell me that this was going to happen, and then they move the goalpost, okay? They move the goalpost because it never happens. You know, and there's Dick Morris. He's going to be on shortly. I wonder if we had a call from, he should be here, shouldn't he? 10 o'clock? Yeah. Okay. Do I have...
He texted he'll be in a few minutes.
Okay, that's fine. No problem. Oh, well, that gives us more time to have some fun. How about, I know, the Alexa old people.
The new Amazon Echo has everyone asking Alexa for help.
Alexa, what time is it? What the hell is wrong with this blasted thing? Amanda!
But the latest technology isn't always easy to use for people of a certain age.
These kids have bought me a busted machine again. Oh, yes, sir.
That's why Amazon partnered with AARP to present the new Amazon Echo Silver, the only smart speaker device designed specifically to be used by the greatest generation. It's super loud and responds to any name even remotely close to Alexa, so they can find out the weather.
Allegra, what is the weather outside?
It is 74 degrees and sunny.
Huh?
It is 74 degrees and sunny.
Where?
Outside.
What about it?
The temperature outside is 74 degrees and sunny.
I don't know about that.
The latest in sports.
Clarissa, how many did old Satchel strike out last night?
Satchel Paige died in 1982.
How many you get?
Satchel Paige is dead.
He what now?
Died.
Who did?
Satchel Paige.
I don't know about that.
Okay. All right. Well, I guess somebody was having a senior moment there, and it wasn't me. It wasn't my wife. So, yeah. Did you got what? What are you looking at? What are you getting so upset about? What time were you supposed to be here? Oh, look at this. He's gonna leave.
It was your McDonald's, Dave. Let me turn this on.
Oh,
it was your McDonald's
did they give you
I went
bad
to.
Service?
No, it's just let me tell you as I get. You want to do your intro thing first before I talk about my morning at McDonald's?
Oh, sure. Yeah. Now he's gonna make an official complaint here on the air. Thank you so much. What a nice guy.
Remember our sponsors, folks.
I have so many nice things to tell about you, but now I can. I have the other story coming on pretty soon. So, the rest of the story.
Yeah.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, this man was a platoon leader in Iraq. Professor, philosopher, Missouri State Representative, District 122, a blindingly brilliant man. Look at the stuff I'm piling.
Now I feel bad.
Please, and you should. Please welcome the representative of Missouri's 122 District, Bill Hardwick. Okay, shut it down.
Thank you.
No, he doesn't.
Thank
he
you,
doesn't
everybody.
deserve that. We're gonna play a song for you now.
All right.
Okay. God, the things I'm doing for
From the
him.
lakes of Minnesota to the hills of Tennessee, across the plains of Texas, from sea to shining sea, from Detroit down to Houston, New York to LA. Well, there's pride in every American heart, and it's time to stand and say, I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free.
Okay.
And I won't forget.
That, by the way, that is Dr. Amy Cooper Hakeem.
Yes.
Okay. You know what I'm having on next?
Dick Morris.
Okay.
Yeah.
You might want to hang around for that if you got
I'd like
time.
to, yeah.
Yeah, because you seem to be just, lollygagging around here. I don't know what's going on. So
Right.
what's the problem with my McDonald's?
There's no problem with your McDonald's.
Oh,
It's
okay.
great. I had to stop in to get my McDonald's this morning.
No, it's a good idea.
Because I had a quick break, right?
It's a good
I
idea.
was like, well, I've got 10
and I guess you
minutes.
called in. That's fine. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I texted you.
Before we get into election matters, do you know Jason Smith is going to be the head of the Ways and Means Committee, or he's running for it? If he,
that Kevin
Holy
McCarthy would
cow.
appoint him.
Yeah.
When I think the Republicans are going to take Congress on Tuesday. I don't think there's much that could stop that.
Well, they're going to take the House.
The House. Yeah, I think the Senate. Yeah, no, so I think the Republicans will take the House. We can talk about the Senate.
Not
if you
the
want.
Senate?
I think the Republicans will take the Senate.
Yeah, I do too.
I just don't know if the code's been cracked in Georgia, Pennsylvania, and Arizona.
Well, that's
the mail-in ballots
curious.
are still an issue.
That's curious.
So that's the only reason why I hesitate.
Yeah.
But it looks like, I saw the Fetterman-Oz debate. I saw the Walker-Warnock debate.
Yeah.
Carrie Lake is running away. The Libertarian dropped out in Arizona.
Yeah.
So,
and is backing her.
Right. No. Yeah. And Carrie Lake is helping Blake Masters big time. Is what I mean by that. Carrie Lake is just running a great campaign.
Lake is helping Blake.
That's right.
How
So
about
I think I feel like the Republicans are going to take the Senate.
I think so too. I like to see 56, but I'd settle for 54.
Yeah. What about in New Hampshire? That's
New Hampshire.
The Republican just pulled it. New Hampshire.
Yeah.
That's what
New
about
Mexico
Bob?
too.
I haven't seen New Mexico.
You're
but
from
I
New
saw-
Hampshire?
No, that's it's Bill Murray. He got can't. It's what about Bob? He goes
that's
New
right.
Hampshire.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry.
It's okay. So I'd like you to go through some of the legislation that we're facing to educate my already brilliant audience out there. Okay, I got my pen in hand, and I'm going to take notes because I don't know what to do.
Okay.
And we have to avoid. Somebody brought up, what about those bills that are hiding things?
Yeah.
We want the inside here.
Okay.
What we should do. All
Can
right?
I give both arguments for some of these?
Yeah.
You give both sides?
As long as you're not ridiculously long like you tend to be.
Okay, so Amendment 1 is should the legislature be able to authorize the treasurer to invest state funds into things like municipal bonds and AAA-rated interest-bearing investments bonds? Okay, so people who argue in favor of that say that the treasurer right now can't invest any money that's cash on hand, that it's sitting there right now. I can't do anything with it. And that it's just good government for him to be able to say, well, I want to, if there's a 4% interest rate out there, that's very low risk. I've never said no risk for investment, but low risk, like a AAA municipal bond. Why shouldn't I get 4%? That's the best use of taxpayers' dollars. That allows me to have some options if times are bad without raising taxes, stuff like that. And we can get more taxpayers their bang for their buck. Scott Fitzpatrick's the treasurer. He actually started like a docking company down in Southwest Missouri when he was a teenager. Super successful, built a whole business, eventually ran for state rep, eventually appointed state treasurer, and sets his point of view from a business, right? If I'm sitting on cash, it's better if I could do something with it and invest in it. People who argue against Amendment 1 say that once I start getting the legislature the power to tell the treasurer they can start investing in money, then I've given the government more power. And the whole point of the Constitution is to confine power from the government. But I'd counter that, as I'm thinking out loud, by saying the U.S. Constitution actually gives Congress some power to print money, to levy taxes, stuff like that, right? So the Constitution is both the powers delineated of the government and the rights of the people. It's two parts, structure of government rights. So, I mean, I don't feel super strongly about Amendment 1, but I'm probably going to vote for it.
Yes.
Because I feel like the treasurer being able to collect interest is a better option sometimes than us raising taxes.
Okay.
And it's a better option to do with our tax dollars.
All right, keep going.
Okay, so the next amendment on the ballot, there's going to be no Amendment 2. You'll see an Amendment 3, I think, next. And Amendment 3 is...
why did they skip one?
I don't know why it's like that. I think it's because the part where it's the certification process.
Yeah.
And then what finally makes it with signatures. So it goes 1, 3, 4, 5.
Now, I know what this is going to be. This is going to be a no. Why?
I'm going to vote no on Amendment 3 also.
Why?
There are lots of reasons.
What do you mean also?
I'm going to vote as well as you. As you are going to vote no,
okay.
You were going to vote no on
But
Amendment 3.
you're a yes on one.
I'm going to vote yes on one.
Yeah, okay.
But I think you could be a true conservative and have a true conservative argument to vote against one, right?
Yeah.
I don't feel, but I'm going to vote yes personally.
Yeah, I think it's right.
Yeah. So, okay, on 3, there's like 40-something pages of regulations on marijuana. There's an equity officer identified in there. So when we had the marijuana bill in the House, this one was brought to the ballot through initiative petition, but there was a separate statute that came through. One of the reasons I voted against that bill is because there was an amendment that monies and state contracts would be based on race and gender, and I think that's wrong. I think it's wrong to do that. I think it should not be a consideration. I think it should be meritorious. Right. So an equity officer that's teaching how we make things equitable through racial considerations, I don't believe in that. I think it's actually unconstitutional. So Amendment 3 is like, it says marijuana legalization. That seems like it. A lot of people like that, I guess, in the state of Missouri. But in it, there's a lot of things that could be problematic. There's specific rules for police officers where they have to give somebody a fine when they see marijuana on the street, but there's a bunch of things they can't do. And there's all these regulatory and criminal law schemes that don't belong in the Constitution. All right, this one clearly doesn't belong in the Constitution. 40 pages of regulations that if in 30 days after it's certified, you all come to me and say, hey, Bill, can you fix this? This is terrible. It's a disaster for our state. I can't do anything about it because it's in the Constitution, except send it back, for another vote of the people. And it's actually pretty hard to amend the Constitution.
Okay, so that's a no.
I'm voting no on that.
All right, now let me just throw this in here. This is not in the state law, but the Supreme Court is now hearing discrimination
affirmative action.
Of affirmative action. Yeah. And I think it sounds to me, I don't know if they've ruled it yet. Have they?
I haven't seen it.
It sounds to me like they're going to rule in favor of the plaintiffs here against affirmative action.
Yeah, I do think that the Supreme Court.
Isn't it interesting?
I think it's actually Robert's inclination is to strike down affirmative action. That was something he believed in the '80s when he was a government lawyer.
Yeah.
So
what do you think of that?
I think that the best way to have diversity is to have things based on merits, based on qualifications, and then I think it's actually racist to say that. We need affirmative action and quotas in order to have diversity.
Yeah.
So I think that the government should treat everybody
I mean,
equality before the law is what I believe in.
I mean, if you want that kind of affirmative action, I should be playing for the Boston Celtics, right?
I think
I got age against me. I got height. I can't jump. But by golly, I need to be elevated amongst all those other people there that think they can play better because of their whatever. Their talent.
Yeah, the 14th Amendment says no state shall deprive anybody of equal protection, and that means that they have to treat different groups the same.
So
Sorry, go ahead.
I have a question on Amendment 3.
Yeah.
Isn't it true that the equity officer will also be putting educational programs in our schools?
So what's weird about that is I don't really know what the equity officer does because it's not really clear. It's like there's an equity officer, but the powers are defined.
Right.
How what do they do? Who do they answer to?
Okay.
Like all that stuff's not described. And so people always make fun of us for the way we write bills, although I tend to think the things that I write are pretty well crafted. Mm-hmm. But we're reading this, and I'm like, this is so contradictory. I don't know what this means. Like, what is this person doing?
Vague,
and so,
right?
Yeah.
Which gives you a lot of room to do stuff. And so, it's in there.
And not a lot of room for me to fix stuff.
Right.
But my other question is, apparently there's ads going around saying that, it talks about the legalization, it talks about all the revenue to Missouri. Is that specifically allocated to the schools? Because apparently that's what they're advertising.
If it's in the amendment that says that it goes to the schools, which I don't think it changes what it does, actually.
I don't know.
I think there's medical marijuana that exists that's supposed to go to veterans, but that hasn't really been realized yet for a lot of veterans programs. Just because there are a lot of reasons why it has, that hasn't been implemented really yet, I don't think.
Okay.
I don't think it changes really the framework that existed in that medical marijuana amendment from 2018.
Okay.
But if something is appropriate in the Constitution, then that money goes automatically to them. And MoDOT and conservation are like that. They're self-appropriating because of their constitutional provisions.
All right. Well, you're a fast talker. I like that.
Well, you told me I had a few times. I was late, so I was going to speed
you
up.
got a lot of stuff.
Right. I want to make sure that I get to the point.
Next.
Amendment 4 is next. Amendment 4 goes back to Mayor Quentin Lucas. And he said he was a defund the police guy. But he was like, I'm not defunding the police, I'm reallocating resources.
That's bullshit.
And he kind of did it around the Jackson County legislature's back, right? Yeah. And he can move some stuff around, and he took resources away from the KC police. And they're upset about it. Well, many members of the legislature, this was a referendum, and it was written by Senator Tony Lutemeyer, who represents north of Kansas City, St. Joe area. That's where his Senate district is. He was like, well, we can fix this. So there was a law last year that said minimum funding for the police. You can't cut it by like more than you can say 20%, 15%, whatever. Like the legislature could say, you have to give the police so much money in Kansas City. You can't defund them, basically. But that requires an amendment to have the legislature have the authority to tell the city government, that they can't defund the police. So I'm going to vote for it. The police are in favor.
Oh, really?
The Republican Party's in favor. Yeah, I know. I'm going to give you the argument against it. The argument against it is that it's local control, that St. Louis and Kansas City can do whatever they want. But I personally think that if St. Louis and Kansas City disband their police force, that the state has an interest. The state legislature is the one that sets a state law, and that creates those cities. That I have an interest in saying you have to have a functioning and funded police force in Kansas City.
So you're a yes on this?
I am, yeah.
All right.
Yeah, because I think that we should be able to, if the city of Kansas City defunds their police, I think the legislature should be able to say, no, you can't do that.
Okay. But what about St. Louis?
You seem surprised. Same thing. But this
okay, they can't disband their police then.
Right. No.
According to this bill.
Yeah. So
amendment.
This is written in response to Quentin Lucas's efforts, but Tashara Jones in St. Louis has similar efforts, right? I mean, that's both the cities. The problem is like, what we'll do is we'll just take the money from the cops and have fewer cops and pay cops less, and we'll have more social workers or whatever. Well, that doesn't work because
it doesn't.
Yeah. So it's not a good strategy.
Okay, next.
Amendment 5. Amendment 5 is so in the 1945 Constitution, we're limited to 13 executive departments in the Missouri executive government, plus 2 created by the legislature, and then Office of Administration. So the National Guard is its own department under the Missouri Constitution and statute, but because there's a limitation on the number of departments, it was rolled up under Department of Public Safety for pay and administrative purposes. And then what happened over time was the Guard started deploying a lot to Afghanistan and Iraq, has all this federal mission, federal money, and I think there are a lot different types of missions. So when we talked about, the functional need to make the National Guard its own department, I had concerns about, are we asserting civilian control? Are we making sure that the state is still in control? The people of the state is. The governor is, the state constitution. Are we going to have an autonomous military force that's only accountable to the federal government? That was a problem that I had.
Oh, yeah.
So I wrote I actually wrote that.
Like the IRS now is going to
be. Yeah. So what you see on the ballot is actually something I wrote. That's my language.
Really?
Yeah, I put that on the. So Adam.
So I'm assuming you're going to vote yes for that.
Yeah, I am. So Adam Schnelting and I, he's a good guy. He's from St. Charles.
Okay.
We worked together on the underlying constitutional language, and then I wrote that ballot language and I put it on there.
Oh, cool.
So that's like there's no Secretary of State. There's actually nobody else. That's just
your
me.
name on there, like
no.
The Hardwick bill or amendment.
I just kind of wrote that out. I typed it out, and then I went to the clerk and I said I want to put this on there, this ballot language, and then the House voted on it, and the Senate voted on it, and so that's the language you see on there. So what you see added to it is that. The Guard's duty will be to uphold the constitutional rights and civil liberties of all Missourians.
Yeah.
And that the Adjutant General's duty will be to uphold the state and federal constitution simultaneously, which I think is a fair way to make sure that they're upholding the First Amendment, Second Amendment, civil liberties, and that there's federalism, which means the state is an entity under the 10th Amendment. And it exists, right? So I think that it accomplishes those things and accomplishes those things I want to accomplish anyway. And in addition to giving us what I think is a more functional system, like the only two states that have the Guard under a DPS equivalent are Missouri and Massachusetts. Every other state in the country has its own Department of National Guard, besides us in Massachusetts.
Yeah, we don't need more of our own army facing us, the citizens. We don't need any of that. Okay, how about 6?
Okay, so should we have a constitutional convention? And this is controversial.
Is that 6?
This is the next question you'll see. It's not a 6 because it's not numbered because in the 1945 Constitution, the question of whether or not we have a state constitutional convention goes to the ballot every 20 years, period. So last time it was on the ballot was in 2002. It's never passed, but every 20 years it comes to a question.
Okay.
Is this government so bad that you want to rewrite the Constitution? And so if that passes, it triggers this convention, which nobody's really sure how to do. But I know the legislators can't.
Hey, as long as you hold it in Rolla across the street from one of my stores,
right.
I'm there.
No, you can go be a delegate. I mean, so there's at-large delegates. There's delegates elected by senatorial districts, like the state senatorial districts. Yeah. So my friend Don, he's like, no way, because George Soros would take it over, and he would fund these people and get these and that's true. It's possible. I think there's so much crud in the Constitution that we have to fix. Like
you're talking about the
state constitution. Yeah, this is a state constitutional convention. A lot of people think it's a national constitution. It's just to rewrite the Missouri state constitution. There's that. There's the way we pick judges. There's bingo in the Constitution. There's Medicaid expansion, which was already growing about $150 million a year before we expanded it. And I think eventually Medicaid may consume like 70-80% of our budget.
Wow.
Just because it keeps growing.
Yeah.
And that's in the Constitution now. So I feel like maybe we do need to send the citizens up there and have them rewrite some of these things from scratch. But the problem is maybe I'm naive about that. Maybe the lobbyists and maybe the billionaires will take it over because there's power, and wherever there's power, that's where people with money go. So,
yeah, all right.
But that's just thoughts on it. So.
There's nothing about pandemic appeasement or
amnesty.
Amnesty, yeah. No,
okay. There's no.
Isn't that interesting? Though?
Vote against everybody.
Calling for that.
if a politician shut down your business, if they sent your kids home for 2 years, if they required that you take a COVID vaccine or you get fired, if they were in favor of that, don't vote for them. And if somebody like that wants an appointment with the state of Missouri, I'm not going to support them.
Yeah. Okay. Just kidding. Actually,
sorry,
but I wanted to bring it up.
I'm so cool until you bring up COVID.
Well, that's all right. No, I can push your buttons, can't I?
I'm mad about the whole thing.
Yeah, okay. I like that. All right, what's next? Oh, so that was a no, right? Is that a vote?
You guys vote on it.
So that's a no.
If you vote, no is the safest vote. It's not. It never has passed before. Part of me wants to see it, though, as a lawyer. And part of me also wants to reform our court.
I'm going to bring these notes in.
Yeah.
I'm going to bring them in my pocket so they can't see.
And take them out.
And take them out when I'm behind the,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, how you vote?
You can do that, can't you?
You can if you want to. You just can't proselytize while you're there.
Right. Okay. I can't cheat. I can't look over on her ballot and say, what did you do on number 3? That's cheating, right?
No, on 3.
Some of us have them memorized here. We don't need cheat sheets.
But the point also, so I think you should just know. You should know the deal with each amendment.
Yeah.
And how you vote's
up
to you.
I do want to know.
Yeah, everybody should know the deal. But if you guys vote different than me, that's why it's on the ballot for the people to decide.
That's right.
So you guys make your own mind up.
Oh yeah,
so you're the citizens who get to decide.
Well, if I really disagreed with you on something, I would vote the other way, but I don't.
And that's okay.
That's why I want to know. That's why I like the fact that you're giving two sides.
Yeah.
Anything else?
No.
Really? We covered that?
Did we cover it all?
I think we did.
Okay.
That was great.
Yeah. Big rundown of the amendments.
So how do you have? Well, I can ask you some other stuff. How do you have a Pennsylvania Supreme Court rule that the election was rigged, yet they say, okay, well, we're not going to have any consequences of it? How does that work?
I'm not. So I don't know how it works because it's not supposed to work like that. I think the Constitution gives the election process, when your absentee ballots have to be marked by and postmarked by, to the legislature for this very reason, because the legislature goes and talks to people, and that's how, and they can answer for their actions.
It's a law that's by the legislature, which is the force that is doing the elections, not
that's what the Constitution says,
not the court.
When they
Not the governor.
When they rewrote the election law, basically, and said, hey, as long as your absentee ballot is postmarked by whatever day. And I remember, I think it was about 2 years ago.
Yeah.
I was on your show. I was brushing my teeth early this morning thinking about you guys. And I remember, remember that.
TMI.
I was like, I just had a flashback.
Yeah, God.
To being on the Dave Weinbaum show in October 2020. And I said, if I could just say, as long as they're postmarked by 3 days after the election or whatever, that's a huge problem. Because that means after election night, I can go, well, I'm 5,000 down. And it's so easy to go, well, voila, here's 5,000 more. Do you remember me talking about that?
Of course.
So I remember talking about that and being like, yeah, but I don't think that's really going to happen. I hope it doesn't happen. I guess wishful thinking. And then, that's basically what happened. Basically what happened was, Donald Trump was way up in Pennsylvania, and then it was like, poof, out of nothing, we found a whole bunch more.
There was 6 states like that.
There were some key states like that.
Way up.
And by the way, just like that timeline is really suspicious. I don't know why.
That's right. They all shut down.
Yeah, when Georgia, they left.
6 states did it almost simultaneously.
And I was thinking about a couple weeks ago, whatever. I said, you said election denier, and I kind of rolled my eyes. Because I don't like that term. I don't deny there was an election. I just think I want to know what happened in that counting place in Georgia where all the Republicans left and the trunk of ballots.
Yeah, where they had a water main break.
Yeah, I just want to know what happened.
Well, I mean,
just answer my questions about it. That's fair.
There's a film there that shows
There's
after they left, they had suitcases. They weren't really suitcases. Yeah, well, they were suitcases. Okay,
before
I know what a
eyes.
suitcase looks like, and it had full of ballots. Why were they hiding the ballots?
Yeah, it's on video.
That's right.
So, I'm not crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, so we're supposed to be evil election deniers. We're not for democracy, you see, because we're election deniers. Well, what's Hillary? Hillary said Trump was
2016, yeah. And she said he's going in 2024 is going to be stolen.
He's illegitimate, and probably. And what's Stacey Abrams running for governor again?
She
still thinks she's governor.
The 2018 election, yeah.
Yeah, well, what is that crap?
Yeah.
Okay, give me a break.
My daughter jokingly said, "Are you gaslighting me, Dad?" And I said, "No, you're crazy."
What?
She thought it was funny. She got his 15-year-old.
That's pretty funny. Okay, so what else do I got here? Okay, Florida is now considered to be a red state.
And you know why? I think because Ron DeSantis became governor.
Yeah.
He governed the way the people wanted to.
Yeah.
He was a conservative governor. He did what the people wanted. He solidified support for that agenda for what he's doing. And so it's his policies that made Florida a red
Democrats,
state.
I think, are giving up on it.
The money's being pulled out of Florida. Rubio's way ahead right now.
What about Missouri?
So Missouri, I think Missouri is a red state. I think Trudy Valentine Bush is kind of written off. Yeah. But Missouri still has some pretty blue parts to it. And Missouri and the suburbs in Missouri did kind of go away from Donald Trump. Yeah. But now recently, women in the suburbs seem like they're gravitating right back to the Republican Party. So I think we're going to have a really good night in Missouri on Tuesday night.
You need to call Dick Morris. Yeah. Okay. So we're gonna call Dick Morris, and we can keep going with whatever you want to say about getting out the vote. What do you think?
I think that everybody always says it's the most important election of their lifetime, and that the country's lost if their side doesn't win. Mm-hmm. But I think that this is the worst I've ever seen our country. And in terms of freedom, in terms of economic collapse, in terms of the Constitution, in terms of, what our country means around the world, this is really, really bad.
Oh, yeah.
And it's because of the people who are in charge in Washington, D.C. And so the best way, not the only way, but the best way, the way before us to fix it, is to kick those people out of office who were supporting this agenda, those things that make me angry and make me upset, and put some new people in there and just give them a chance to reform it and to listen to people. That's what I think.
Right.
So I do think the Republicans will take the Senate, honestly. I think that even when I see a Nate Silver forecast of 54%, and Nate Silver had Donald Trump at like 20% in 2016, that tells me that the Republicans are pretty bullish on taking the Senate.
We have great momentum, it looks like, because the polls rarely tell the story anymore because they're politicized, aren't they?
Yeah, that's right. And
Dick Morris will attest to that.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, he'll attest
Is
to
he
that.
on?
No.
Okay.
My producer has disappeared. He's abandoned ship. Did you get him?
I can talk till he comes on if you want.
Okay.
So
there was a spare number for him too,
Yeah, I called both.
Okay.
I think the polls in Missouri undercounted Republican support because they had traditional demographics in Columbia and Springfield and St. Louis and Kansas City.
Yeah.
But nobody out in Phelps County got a poll question. Nobody out in Marys County. And those are the groups that came out stronger and stronger for Donald Trump.
Yeah.
Right? They're just undercounted people.
Well, I'm a city boy. I'm from Chicago, for goodness sakes.
Yeah, Chicago.
Exactly. And I'm glad I'm from Chicago and not living in Chicago right now, that's for sure. And I progressively downloaded because I went to Denver University, lived there for a couple of years, and I went to St. Louis, lived there a couple of years, and all of a sudden I'm in Rolla, Missouri. People think I'm in the witness protection program, And then I brought my father down. Even more evidence that I'm in the witness protection program along with him.
And actually having a radio show is a pretty good disguise for that. He can't be witness protection because he has a
you
show, right?
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, he's a conservative, just like we are down here. Yeah, it's like really suspicious.
Yeah, like I
honestly.
changed.
Right. The more I think about it.
You think I changed? Seriously. Do you think I was a liberal at one time?
Let me think for a second. Let me think. I never met you before 2 years ago. Well, no.
No, I wasn't. And it was strange because I didn't know what I was talking about back then. It was Goldwater and all that stuff, and I always thought Lyndon Johnson was lying out of his you-know-what, and Goldwater was at least telling the truth, about Vietnam and stuff like that.
So, how I got into politics, or how it really started with the idea of my political identity, was during the Clinton years, right?
Right.
I was a young person then, and abortion became a thing, and I was like, "What does this mean?"
What is it? Yeah.
And then the more I learned about it, I was like, "Whoa, I don't like that." As little as a kid, right? And then during the Clinton years too, there was this whole like the government is taking over everything, and this is bad, and like all these, and I just kind of got a distrust for government, and also I was listening to Rush Limbaugh a lot back then, so it just kind of developed who I was. I guess. And then just over time, it just all these data points, these parts in history just kind of affirm that. I mean, my core principles are that too much power in the hands of few people is corrupting, and they're going to abuse it.
Yeah.
So there needs to be checks on power. There needs to be power spread out and diffused. That we got to be accountable to the people. Those are the principles that I kind of came up with that kind of define my political ideology. And I think that's also conservatism, limited government, individual rights.
Limited government, individual rights. Yeah. And this idea that you can lord over the people, that the government somehow is what we're all allegiant to, and not our rights under God. That's where I'm coming from, because they can, as you can see, when they do it all by themselves, the government, or do it with just a small amount of people that are for, let's say, the Green New Deal, it's a disaster. Yeah. It is a total disaster. It's unscientific. It's ridiculous. And you're talking about trillions of dollars going for this, and we shut down our own gas station, our own gas lines. That's crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
We're really on the brink of a diesel crisis. We're in a diesel crisis now.
Yeah, and I lost sleep over this. I had a guy come on the show last week, J.J. Bradshaw, and he said, "Oh, don't worry, Dave. They're going to take care of it." And
Who's going to take care of it?
I said, "Okay, he knows. He probably knows."
He claimed there was and he might be right on this. They have a reserve, and that
the Strategic Petroleum Reserve is depleted to the lowest level since the early 1980s.
Yeah. So that's.
But they allegedly has something different with the diesel oil.
Yeah, I guess it's true.
However, Biden just came out with a $13 billion bill that is based on equity. You know, it'll go to certain people and not to others.
Yeah.
In other words, I don't know how much these things are going to cost, how much the oil is going to cost, the heating oil, diesel, whatever they call it. And so I don't know. I mean, is it going to cost a lot, or is it just going to run out?
I actually think that equity stuff's immoral because
it is immoral.
Every person is
a
person.
Racism.
Every human being is equal to every other human being.
Yeah.
Everybody gets their worth and value from God, right? You're just a person. That's the whole theory we talk about conservatism.
Sure.
You know, just because you're in D.C. doesn't mean you know what's best for everybody else. You're just a person too.
They are convinced that they know better.
We hold these truths to be self-evident that all men are created equal.
Yeah.
That's kind of my
They don't like that though.
That's what I believe.
They want if given the chance, you don't think they'd rewrite the Constitution?
I think so.
Yeah.
But that's why the Constitution was written.
They're kind of doing it in a way because what they do is if they don't like what it says, they just avoid it anyway.
Well,
so it's kind of like their way of rewriting it.
Reinterpret it,
And we can't get the courts to do anything about it. So we're stuck here. We're stuck in a place that doesn't really have justice.
Well,
you want to give him another call? Did you talk to him?
No.
Okay. Well, give him another call.
I was excited about Donald Trump's appointments to the courts, but I think the lesson, the takeaway is the courts are not going to be our savior. They're not our Deus Ex Machina.
No, I get that.
Yeah, the people.
They don't want to really get involved in elections. However, there are certain things that they ought to because it involves your First Amendment rights. Your vote is a right. Your vote to express yourself on who you want to elect, that is a First Amendment right, as noted by, I believe, Harvard University and Yale University.
Yeah.
That this is part of your First
Amendment. It's in the Constitution, too, the 15th Amendment.
Yeah. Is he on?
Yep.
Oh, goody. All righty. Ladies.
There's some chance I may.
Huh? Hello there.
Yes, there's some chance I may lose you, in which case call right back.
Well, I have bad dreams. I have bad dreams about that because my mother lost me once, and here I am 70 years later, and that's scary. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, the only man, before he loses me, the only man in New York City that likes his landlord, he's an author of The Return and about 15 other New York Times bestsellers with his wife Eileen, as I learned by looking at his book. How about putting his book up there? I got your book, by the way.
Good.
Star of TV, the advisor to two presidents. Please welcome all the way from New York City, Dick Morris. Yay! Okay, white suburban women, 20% of the electorate favors Republicans, and it's by 15 points, a 27% shift from August. How do you explain this?
Well, first of all, let me introduce Doug DePiro, who's with me.
Hello there.
Hi there. Who's it? What's his name?
Doug DePiro. Nice to meet you.
DePiro. All right. Well, you his bodyguard or what? Are you his bodyguard?
A close friend.
Yeah.
I wouldn't trust
my
life to him.
Thanks a lot. What do you mean? I trust my life to you. No.
Why don't you say just forget about it? Come on. You guys are New Yorkers. You talk like that, don't you? Anyways, what's the deal with suburban women choosing their becoming all this turning 27% shift from August for Republicans?
Well, a big part of it is abortion getting out of the way. Abortion was a major issue in July and August, and the Republicans handled it well. by making people understand that they would not change the law in their locality nor impose a federal override. And that
was Dick's idea, 100%.
And then beyond that, the issues of crime and inflation are very significant in the suburbs and cut very deeply. But I think that the more important thing is that single white suburban women are increasingly focusing not on their role as potential single mothers in the event of an abortion, but instead on raising children and the way that the schools are biasing children.
Yeah.
I think parent power, like Glenn Youngkin ran on in Virginia, saying we want the right to approve if our kids are being taught critical race theory, or if our kids in the 4th grade are being taught about gender identity and gender change and transsexuality and even surgery. We want the right to input that and to stop that from happening. And that's been a fundamental cleavage between the education establishment that I call the educrats and the suburban white women voters and suburban voters, not just whites. And I think that's what's manifesting itself there.
So
parent power was always the issue, but it was obscured by abortion, and now it's not.
So the Democrats seem to have made a huge mistake when they went all out on abortion after Roe v. Wade, right?
Yes. Well, 2 mistakes: that and to go all out on gender change and a gay agenda. They essentially replaced the goal of feminism with the goal of helping the gay community.
How are Republicans looking in the early voting?
Well, we had been trailing by about 20 points. Now we're trailing by about 9.5. So I think they're closing up nicely, and I think that it's going to be fine.
So is Donald Trump still in charge? Is still in control of the Republican Party?
Well, he's never been in control. Others have been in control as well, but he is clearly their candidate and clearly the party leader and the party spokesman. And nobody is going to oppose him for president in the Republican Party.
Mr. McKeggy.
Go ahead.
He and I spoke a couple of days ago, and I said, nobody's going to run against you. And he said, well, some schmagegi might.
Well, speaking of speaking of schmagis, I have a lawyer here right now. He's a Missouri State rep. His name is Bill Hardwick. And introduce yourself.
Hey, good morning.
Since you got a bodyguard, I got mine too, you know?
Yeah, I'm pretty bad.
He's bad, man. Let me tell you. Iraq platoon leader right here.
Than mine.
There you go. And by the way, it's my birthday, November the 8th. It's yours on the 20th. And I'm still 12 days older than you are. How's that?
But I'm on November 28th.
Oh, 28th. All right, 20?
Yeah,
that's 20 days.
Okay.
All right. So Republicans are 10 to 15 points ahead, it seems to be. Dems are underperforming. And talking about New York, too. Latinos defecting to the GOP, possibility of 56 in the Senate. Governor Zeldin, you think? Is that going to happen?
Yes, I think it will.
Wow.
I think that Zeldin got out of the way on the abortion issue, and since then has been able to score well with the crime issue. And his opponent, Kathy Hochul, is not a pro. She's an amateur.
She certainly is.
She's been making huge mistakes. She said that the crime statistics in New York were exaggerated. She said, I don't know why crime is that important to you, to Zeldin, and those are just stupid mistakes. I think Zeldin's going to win, and I think that we are going to pick up a minimum of 54 seats. Minimum of 54
in the House.
Seats in the Senate.
In the Senate, 54, okay.
And most likely up in the range of 60 in the House.
Wow.
And I think the Republicans will win governorships in New York, Minnesota, Wisconsin.
So how are the Democrats going to try to cheat?
wait a minute, Nevada, North Carolina, and
Michigan,
maybe Michigan.
Michigan. Yeah. Do we win the Senate race? I mean, the governor race in Michigan?
I think that Tudor Dixon is going to win.
Yeah.
The Republican candidate.
How about Carrie Lake in Arizona?
Oh, she's a shoo-in, yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah. Do you ever hear of a guy named Jeff Zink in Arizona?
Yes.
Yeah, he ran the AZ audit. He's a friend, and he's running for Congress in Maricopa County. And he says it's the Republican Party didn't help him at all, and now he thinks he's got a pretty big lead. It's a Democrat thing since 2000, and he thinks he's going to win it.
Yes, I do know him. We spoke during the recount period.
Yeah.
He's very good. I hope he wins.
Oh, he's great. He's great. He's actually stayed at my house here in Rolla, Missouri, and been on the show.
That's great.
Anyways, so since you finished the return, has there been more evidence that Trump won the popular vote as well as the Electoral College in 2016?
You know, I'd love to talk to you about that, but I'm really not talking about 2020 again.
Okay.
I want to look ahead to 24. And Trump will inevitably, in my view, be the next president, because I think that he's definitely going to run. I think he'll announce in a couple of weeks.
So he's going to announce in a couple of weeks, right?
Yeah, I think so.
All right. Well, listen, I want to thank you for coming on the show. I know you're busy doing a lot of stuff. It is election weekend, and you did me a big favor by being here on this show, because I'm calling this the election special. We're holding up your book, The Return. Other than DaveWeinbaum.net, where can people find you and buy your book?
Well, I've not been banned yet. So
yes, you say that every time.
Amazon.com, BarnesandNobles.com, and in most bookstores, although not all liberal bookstores.
So hurry up before he does get banned.
Say what?
Hurry up and buy his book before he does get banned, because it's
you know
Trump
something
book.
about that, do you? So you know he's going to get banned?
No, it's just a joke.
I know.
Bad joke.
Well, here's something else. Here's another joke. You know, my dog got into my stash of Viagra.
Yeah.
Hey, at least he stopped chasing his own tail. There you go. All right, thank you so much for being a star on the Dave Weinbaum Show. You guys, don't forget to vote on November the 8th. Thank you.
All right, man. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
All right. You can close down the show. That was, I didn't know whether they're going to go in or not. I still don't know the name of that guy because, but you know what? They're city guys. I get it. All right. See, I get the sense of humor. He's Jewish. I don't know about the other. He's probably Italian, and I'm comfortable with that. And you have the same kind of sense of humor, I think. And you say you're from New Hampshire?
No, I was born in Rolla.
Oh, you're born in Rolla. Okay. Yeah. Well, most people. Why is that funny?
Because we did the whole "What about Bob?" and he goes, "New Hampshire."
Oh, okay.
Like, it's Bill Murray, and then we came back to you. Go, "You're from New Hampshire."
Okay.
Okay. It was funny to me.
Okay, it's beyond me. My brain is on high
Tuesday.
alert. It's
Yeah.
on high alert
because this is it.
It's been burning out now. I got 12 minutes to go, 13 minutes to go.
I get it. It's crunch time. Tuesday's a big day.
Oh, yeah. Well, Tuesday is the day you got to get out there if you haven't already.
You going to any watch parties?
Watch parties? No.
We were invited to one.
Yeah, you're invited to mine if you want to.
Okay, is that Tuesday?
Tuesday, yeah. The election is Tuesday, November 8th. Yeah. And Tara's having one here.
Yeah, but Tuesday.
In
when are they going to have the? When are they going to have the results?
The results.
Yeah. We could be here till the end of the month.
So it wouldn't surprise me personally if Pennsylvania doesn't call it that night.
Yeah.
If it's not for a while.
Yeah. The Oz race is going to be pretty interesting. Oz and
Fetterman.
Yeah. You know, he did a show with Oprah.
Yeah.
You know, Oz did, and probably helped succeed and all that. She's going for Fetterman.
Yeah.
Oprah.
How could you support Fetterman? It's hard for me to think of it.
What? He can't do it. He's a terrible candidate, even without the strokes.
Yeah, it's almost abusive to put him out there.
Yeah, I mean it's sad, but even if he was healthy, the guy didn't show up for work a third of the time, and he's a anti-police guy who lied about it. He's anti-fracking. He's anti-oil in Pennsylvania. Come on.
He's a terrible candidate, and he was before his stroke, but he's still a better candidate than Katie Hobbs in Arizona, I think.
Yeah. Isn't that something? Allegedly, she's been accused and convicted of racism.
Well, you don't want to get convicted of racism, but what she was sued for racial discrimination.
Yeah.
And then she had to pay out money for racial discrimination in the workplace. So racism is not actually a crime, right? So you don't get convicted of it, but she lost a couple suits.
If you recall, when Jeff was first starting the Arizona audit and he was talking about it here on the show, Katie Hobbs she's Attorney General of the state. She was one of the officials he was working with on it, and then all of a sudden she started going rogue on stuff, and now we're starting to get the whole picture. Yeah,
well, she's Secretary of State now. Still, isn't she in charge of the elections?
Yeah, there's a call for her to recuse. I think especially all the questions about Arizona. Maybe she should have an independent
she could fix her own race.
Yeah, she's bad. Her interviews are bad.
And terrible. And that was on CNN. I saw an interview with Don Lemon. And he wouldn't let her off the hook for not.
Those are bad answers.
Well, she wouldn't. She refuses to debate Carrie Lake. How do you refuse to debate her?
Yeah.
I mean, my God.
No, if she wins, then we know that's very good evidence something is afoot. So.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and Jeff Zink was telling me that, there are ways to do it other than what they tried in the Arizona audit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, and again, claiming that people stick with what they're telling Jeff, but even though Maricopa County is very heavy Democrat, he said like 70 to 80% of the registered Democrats in the county have told him as he's campaigning door to door, "You have my vote." So I can't support the Democrat Party with what they're doing. So, now, again, if they stick to that, but
New York, Pennsylvania, the Connecticut Congressional District, New Hampshire, I mean, those are things that don't happen.
They don't come up.
Yeah.
Usually there are set Democrats. There.
You're not competitive in those states unless in the swing states there's a Republican surge because it's a national thing. It's a national response to Joe Biden, I think.
Oh, yeah. So. And you know what? Democrats have a lot of money, but they can't possibly be spreading it to all these places like they pulled out of Florida. They're not supporting Chris.
Yeah, and they basically they pulled out of Missouri too.
You pulled out of Missouri? Yeah, so we got Eric is going to be.
He's going to get elected. He's going to be our next U.S. Senator.
Yeah, she's still talking about him selling land to China.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he voted for a bill that capped the percentage on foreign ownership, 8 or 9 years ago.
Yeah.
And then they said that was opening the door to China buying farmland. I think that's an issue. I want to address that in January. Yeah. The issue of is China getting money from the state or they buy in farmland?
Well, you'll be back on the show explaining it. Obviously.
Yeah, I hope to take it on and make sure our state deals with it. Whatever's going on there.
So now you're a young man. Are you you're over 30 though?
I am over 30.
Yes,
but I appreciate the compliment.
Yeah, it wasn't really meant for that, but no, it really was. But where do you go? Where do you go from here? What's your future going to be?
I don't know. I'm going to try to do the best I can, just being a good person. I'm working on that, and then listen to the people. I want to take on some issues next session that are important. Try to take on again COVID stuff, maybe the Chinese influence in agriculture. I want to make sure we don't pass red flag laws in Missouri. Those are things that are important to me.
Okay. Beyond that, where do you think you should be to serve this country?
Beyond that, I think I think the best advice is just to try to be good where you are and do a good job, and opportunities present themselves. So if you're the best you could be, that opens the door to other things.
So if you think you're ready for the next level, what would that be?
Like a statewide office or a state senate or something. I don't know. I'll think about it. I'm thinking about it. I don't know. But right now, I just need to focus on what I'm doing in January. So
forgetting all that.
Focus. What would I like to do if I could do anything?
What would you like to do?
My dream job? I'd probably be the Attorney General of Missouri. That'd probably be like my dream job.
So you want to follow in the order of the Ashcrofts?
I like John Ashcroft.
And
Jay Ashcroft,
who was the guy before him?
There's a guy named Jack Danforth.
Jack Danforth.
Yeah, I don't want to. I think Jack Danforth kind of disappointed me over the Josh Hawley thing and over the independent candidate this year. So that's not okay. But I think Attorney General is a good job. That way you could sue the federal government, and you could defend the state.
And I think Eric,
give
would
legal
you say
opinions.
that Eric Schmidt did a good job of suing the federal government?
Yeah, I think so.
Tell us exactly what he did in a very brief style, because I want to get more out of it.
He joined the suit over the elections in 2020.
Yeah.
He sued China. He sued the federal government basically on anything Joe Biden did that we were upset about. All the COVID stuff, all the mandates he filed suits on. He sued schools over if they're violating either that policy, those mask policies, or the mandate against mandates in Missouri over CRT. He made a big issue of that with schools. I mean, so he just kind of stuck it to it. And I think that parents, you could talk about suburban women, just like Dick Morris said, who felt like they weren't being listened to, right? They had nowhere to go. He was championing their voice. And that's probably why he won the primary. One of the many reasons, including that he got endorsed by Donald Trump. He and Eric Greitens did, I mean, there are lots of reasons, but that's one of the reasons. Is people who feel like, all this stuff that's weighing on you from the federal government and from the public school system, they're like, well, nobody's listening to me. I can't go anywhere. And the Attorney General takes up your cause. That made a lot of those people feel pretty good about him.
Well, and I thought it was gutsy just when he announced that he was going to sue them, but he's actually been successful with it.
Yeah.
That's
more so
a whole nother level.
I think Parsons down in Texas, the AG there, he also sues them, but I don't know how his record is.
I don't think it should be the rule that you're suing local governments, but I think the Attorney General should reserve the ability to do that when it's necessary to protect the rights of the people.
You know what I'm shocked at? That all of a sudden Jeff Zink is out there now. If Dick Morris knows about him in a cab in New York City, all right, because he hasn't been out there. The Republicans aren't backing him because they thought he was going to lose. If this guy wins, it's going to be great because we're all going to D.C.
I feel like there's a red wave coming.
Yeah, I think you're right. We got to do this right, though. We can't just we got to figure out the right way to govern. Okay, we got to do it in such a way that we're not going to take any crap from the other side.
Yeah.
But we have to do it in such a way that we re-legitimize our government.
Well,
toughly, though.
You tell me, what do you want to see from a Republican Congress? Republican state Congress in January. What do you think
I want to see accountability, first of all, for the other side. They got to be held accountable. None of this appeasement for the pandemic.
I can tell you what I want to see.
What do you want to see?
I want to see a full investigation into the January 6th Commission because I think it's just hogwash.
Yeah.
I want to see full investigations into Hunter and Joe Biden for their dealings overseas and their interactions with China and all that. I mean, that's just the start of it.
It's clean up on IO America, and then we can move forward.
Yeah.
You got to clean it up.
I think everything needs to be accounted.
FBI.
Yeah, for the FBI, for January 6th,
DOJ,
for the 2023 election.
We got to get a bunch of those people accountable in court.
I think Congress needs to ask those questions and hold those hearings. I think that's important, number one. I think they need to override the Biden stuff that's been pretty egregious through statute and through funding to defund some of the Biden programs. And I think they need to open up energy production in the United States again. Oil drilling, make us energy independent again like we were.
I wonder
that should be their main agenda, I think.
If and when Biden vetoes a bill that we re-engage our own gas lines and things like that, if that would be overridden by the Democrats with Republicans, if that would be bipartisan.
It's just such an obvious thing to do. For inflation, for everything, for energy, it's just such an obvious thing.
They're all going to be destroyed if they don't go along with that.
Open up energy production in America again.
Oh, yeah.
And that's an easy one. That's an easy, obvious policy.
And he won't do it even now.
Just like you said, it's because it's not really a scientific agenda. It's a political agenda.
Sure.
And it's a political position that keeps you from doing it.
Exactly. All right, my friend. Well, I want to thank you for being here all this time, and I appreciate you, and thank you for the lesson on what and what not to vote for in our upcoming election. Hopefully somebody out there, some other people out there were listening, and I think they were. Yes?
And
they were.
Yeah.
I'd say for all of us conservatives, don't assume victory.
Right.
Get out and vote.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's up to us. Yeah.
All right, and let us know what party we're supposed to go to, okay?
It's a watch party.
You can go to any. Tara has a party here in Rolla.
Okay.
And we got a party in St. Robert. You can go to both of them if you want to. You're welcome to come.
Okay.
We'll have pizza. We'll have Fox News up. We'll be watching it.
Who's going to have better food?
I'm going to have pizza and Subway probably.
What's she going to have?
I don't know. You mean text Tara and ask her?
If she's having McDonald's, you won't see me.
Ooh, I actually like a lot. I'm a fan.
Look at that McRibs.
This is how you look so young.
We have McRibs. We got McRibs.
You go, man, he looks youthful. It's because I've been eating McDonald's my entire life.
There you go.
It's a secret.
Well, guy who lived 98 invented the Big Mac.
Yeah.
He had a Big Mac every week. All right. Guy he was in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Health's a complicated thing. It's not just one thing. It's a lot of things.
It really is. And it's a lot of mental, I think, too.
It's a lot of how you feel toward people. Your attitude.
And also, you got to be careful about these doctors, because they'll see something and they want to. All of a sudden, you're going to start having problems if you listen to somebody tells you need an operation, you need a shot, or whatever.
Yeah.
And suddenly it goes bad, then you need more stuff. All right. Listen, this is coming down to 25 seconds. Thank you so much, all the people that promoted this show. And remember, I want you all to remember it's my birthday, November the 8th. And my present from you, I'm asking for a present, I know. But my present, all I want is for you to go out and vote your conscience.
And call your friends, have them.
Honey, we're